Welcome to your weekly interval. This is the Best Damn Nerd Show. I am your host, the Microphone Alchemist Bimbo Jimbo. With me tonight, Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd.
Hello!
Chief Science Officer of Star Labs, Mark Truex.
What's up?
And Hall of Fame cyber athlete, Jonathan Craig.
Just a couple more games, guys. You have time. Just a couple more.
Yeah, that will be a prevailing theme tonight, as the main topic that we are going to get into is party games, specifically because of the Fall Guys phenomenon that has taken the world by storm. But I want to start out catching up with y'all. And Mark, I know this past week was a big one for you. It was part one of DC Fandom. And, right off the top, man, I have to say bravo to you and yours, because DC Fandom, showed Comic-Con at home and all virtual cons how it's done. I was impressed.
So while I had nothing to do with DC Fandom aside from sitting at home and eating it up, I will have to say DC's good. I'm going to pat myself on the back because they did a great job and they really brought it. The fact that not only did they have an 8-hour continual feed of content without really breaks, they just the way they piece all together, the production quality of it, of being within an actual digital dome and green screening in hosts from around the world to do it. And it wasn't like we need to fill an hour. It was, if something was 5 minutes, it was 5 minutes. If something was 20, if something was 30, and it was just all fed together. And just the sheer amount of content that they covered, whether it was doing, sneak peeks of new costumes like for the Flash movie, or if it was doing announcement of title names like for the new Shazam movie, or giving us trailers, everything beyond it. It was awesome. I mean, there's so much content came out. I feel like a lot more nerdgasms were being had during this than over the extent of Comic-Con, which took, what was it, 4 days? It still was 4 days Comic-Con this year, and this was
it was like 5 days. It was still Wednesday also.
I completely agree, Mark. This was what Comic-Con at home should have been in a lot of ways, at least for certain panels that were of major properties and everything. The production value, the amount of footage, the attendees, it was all top notch. I was 30 seconds in to DC Fandom, and I was like, well, this is already better. Just with the presentation, the opening ceremonies.
Walking into the hall?
Yeah, it was terrific. I mean, there is just, it was a first round KO for DC Fandom. And, they played the hits right away into the Wonder Woman 1984 panel. They had all, the cast was there. I loved how they implemented, pre-recorded fan questions and everything. It was just, it was great. Did Jeff or John, did you guys participate at all or check anything out from DC Fandom?
I didn't watch the live, but I've watched a lot of the trailers and stuff that's come out of it, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, same as John. I didn't watch it live, but I was following our Discord as far as just input from either Mark or Davis.
We
had men on the street, we had field reporters.
Well, Mark, as an official DC employee now, I'm claiming it. That's what I wish for you, Mark.
Someday.
That's what I wish for you. But it was
why they got him on his knees for free.
That is true. Why buy the cow when you're getting the milk for free, I suppose. But
one thing that was just so cool was how they did the panels too. It wasn't the standard all right, here's a panelist and a moderator and let's field some questions. Is quite a few of these panels were actually done in a fashion that was very creative and explored fun ways of showing the content. Hey, hi.
Aw, kisses and hugs.
This will not be for
Mark's
the channel.
Kiddo's now on the mic.
Yeah.
It's
a teddy bear. Do you
What did
say
you
you
think
love
of
DC?
Fandom?
Do you love Wonder Woman?
Marcella, where is Black Manta? Give Black Manta
Where
back
is
to your
Black
father.
Manta? Where is Black Manta?
Where is he?
You wouldn't give it to your
Where's Black Manta?
She's delightful.
Kids.
But yeah, just what was different was the way that they put together these panels, where it wasn't the stereotypical panelists and moderators, but they did things where they were really creative with the content. Will Arnett was doing what was it? I think the panel for the Suicide Squad game, and it was like he was being teleported into each sequence. So every time he appeared on screen on the green screen, he was like, "It hurts. Why are they beta testing me?" And they kept zipping him around.
That's
And
cool.
on the Shazam panel, how they were playing around, like, "Oh, let's phone this person in," like pretending like they're just calling other cast members on a whim and interrupting them. And it was super playful, and it still felt candid and produced in a fashion that was enjoyable. Like
It really was. Like,
I think
look,
it goes back to the discussion about Comic-Con, where it really felt like Comic-Con was like, oh shit, our thing's canceled. Like, what do we do? Let's just throw a couple people together on a Zoom call and have them talk about whatever we had ideas for panels for. Whereas this DC fandom thing was like, let's create a badass show. We have all this really cool content to hype up and to share with people for the first time. Let's create a really badass show that showcases it, and let's take advantage of all that we've learned about producing content in the COVID world.
Yeah.
And, I do know some people at Warner Brothers behind the scenes. They are leading the charge on a lot of the production stuff that's happening right now. And I thought that they got to integrate a lot of the remote stuff in a really cool, creative way throughout this.
yeah, I mean, it just, again, night and day. And I had a blast doing the Comic-Con at home coverage with you guys, and that is a big part of what it's all about. But, I mean, we all felt it, that like, wow, this was kind of underwhelming in terms of the effort put into Comic-Con at home for so many of the panels. The only one that seemed they put any effort into at all was the Bill and Ted panel. And, and even that was dwarfed by the first panel with Wonder Woman 1984. It was just this wonderful backdrop, and the whole cast was there. And again, they implemented fan questions. They showed footage almost immediately, and then they discussed said footage. It felt more like Comic-Con than Comic-Con did. So I guess that's as good a time as any to talk about some of the things that we did see at Fandom briefly, because there were a lot of trailers, there was a lot of footage. Wonder Woman 1984, in my estimation, looks incredible. Love the new trailer. It's still sort of interesting to me that Kristen Wiig is going to be this villainess, but in the trailer she comes off well. It's just off-putting because I've seen her in so many different things where she's not that way. But overall, man, Gal Gadot looks like she's going to hit it out of the park again.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen Wiig is easy to hate because she's terrible, so I think she'll fit right in as a good villain. And after they actually turned her into Cheetah, looked pretty cool. At least the quick clips of her zipping all around all fuzzy actually looked legit. I'm glad they're going full hog in and actually like staying true to characters instead of trying to like update.
It's a cheetah, Mark, not a hog.
You got to go all in, dude.
No, they really are leaning into it, embracing what it is, because I think if you tried to half-ass that, then it would come off stupider. Like if she was just in that sort of like leather outfit that they show her in part of the trailer, and like that's just Cheetah, I think people would be sorely disappointed. But the fact that they're going full bore into it is good. Jeff, what do you think of Wonder Woman 1984?
I haven't seen the new trailer, but I am happy to hear that Cheetah's going to be the villain in it. So I mean, because I mean, like what I know of Wonder Woman, it's like I know that as an iconic villain. I know that as a villain that she matches up well with, and I like Kristen Wiig, so I'm okay with her participation in the movie.
Yeah. I like her. It's an unusual role for her, but I think that might be maybe why they did it, because sort of her origin is like that archaeologist and sort of more nerdy type character with it, and so it's going to be when she becomes Cheetah, complete that sort of transformation beyond just how she looks. Yeah. I'm very interested. The trailer looks great. My only trepidation is, how are they going to implement Steve Trevor into this? Because he is very present throughout the trailer. He provides some of the fish out of water comic relief, which, me, I can take or leave, and hopefully it's the appropriate amount of sprinkling in throughout the movie. But beyond that, beyond any sort of tone, it's just like, how are they going to do it? I'm very curious how he lives and how he is brought into this sort of
him in a fanny pack looked delightful.
But I don't find fish out of water stuff that annoying. Like, that's why I like the first Thor movie. That's why, I don't mind Captain America and the later films and stuff like that. Like, if it's him just like cracking jokes and stuff, that's more annoying to me. That's why
that was
Thor
that
2
was
and
in the
Thor,
trailer,
especially Thor Ragnarok, is kind of a problem.
there's a whole scene in the trailer where he's trying on different 80s clothing. He's like, parachute pants? Does everybody parachute now? And I know that's, for the rabble to lap up and laugh and clap and everything like that. But if there's too much of that, I kind of balk. But
Dude,
again,
I think that's one scene. I'll tell you one thing though.
Yes.
I'm kind of over 80s nostalgia. I'm ready for 90s
Me
nostalgia.
too, dude. Me too.
Yeah.
We're
I'll be
getting
honest
there.
with you, that's probably the biggest turnoff of the movie in general. And the trailer didn't
Really?
really. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
over
dude, there's
that.
so much
I'm
80s
over
shit
it.
now. Yeah, I really do think we need to move
We're
on
gonna
to
see
the
all
following
the same
decade.
references that we've seen already, and it's just like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah, are
And
they going to play a bunch of Michael Jackson music?
the trailer itself
Hopefully.
really didn't stand out, but that being said, the trailer to the original Wonder Woman movie didn't really stand out, but I liked the movie a
Oh,
lot.
man.
So I think I'm gonna like this one. I think she's been really good in all the other movies she's been in the DC world. So
Yeah, I
I
agree
think it'll
with
be a
that.
good movie. But I'm with Jeff. I'm over it. Let's move on.
I just again, beyond the fish out of water thing, I'm so curious as to how Steve Trevor is going to get brought into the 80s and everything. And I guess maybe it'll really explain the sort of whatever befalls him in this movie, maybe why Diana feels how she does in Justice League or Batman v Superman kind of deal.
Yeah, I kind of hope it ends on a bitter note. Just
He
because
just dies at the end of every Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
maybe.
No.
Which is too bad because I really liked Stephen Trevor, and I'm
Yes.
glad he's in this movie because I thought like what a waste that we've lost him
Yeah.
already in World War One. Not that he wasn't amazing in the first film; he was my favorite character, even more than Wonder Woman, who I thought she did a great job too. But I thought the first movie ended on a real optimistic note, which is not the Wonder Woman we got in present day. So I was like, something. I mean, but there's still so much time that had passed since then. So it's like, yeah, something bad has to happen to her where she loses faith in humanity.
He pioneers the first like squirrel suit, only he calls it a bat suit, and it has like the little webs and everything. And that's why when she sees Batman for the first time, she's like, "Ugh, another one
Well,
of these."
Speaking of Batman, we also got the Batman trailer with Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright as
Pattinson.
Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, Robert Pattinson. And
No, guys, it's
apparently-
Pattinson.
I
we
totally
got-
forgot that it was
He's
Colin
playing
Farrell.
Batman.
Colin Farrell put on weight and prosthetics to be the Penguin in this movie.
So brave.
Yeah, very incredibly in this environment.
Yeah. To
but-
sacrifice your looks for a movie. I mean, Colin.
Yeah, and he's got great looks.
Yeah.
But I thought this trailer was also really terrific, and I haven't really seen that much of Robert Pattinson's work honestly, and he's most known for being Cedric Diggory and being Edward from the Twilight films. I know he's
Edward
done
Cullen.
stuff since then. But so when he was first cast, I didn't balk super hard to it because I just like, well, he's done a lot of stuff since then, and what is he going to do? Say no to being a teenage heartthrob in this like phenomenon of a series? No, of course not. So
And it made his career.
it absolutely did.
I mean, he picks and chooses his scripts now thanks to those
And it was
movies.
pre-Epstein, so pedophilia was still okay.
Oh my god.
He was hundreds of years old.
Yeah, it was creepy.
It
That was
very
a-
creepy.
I was wondering about that though, like developmentally, maybe his brain is always like teenage.
So
Yeah, that's
I
what,
don't
that's
know,
what
I've
people
just-
claim.
are you defending it?
Well, I've always kind of wondered like what immortality would actually be like. Like I can't imagine
It
sitting
would
through a high school
suck,
class
dude.
now and I'm in my
Yeah.
30s. Like if I'm in my 90s, I'm sure as
Yeah.
shit not gonna sit in physics class.
I know.
That sounds like
I
a
know.
goddamn nightmare.
He's-
Or
and-
history
and
class?
Also, and it's not even the first time he's taken it. He's been sitting in the same.
That's what I'm
class.
saying. It's like I have to do this every year. Can I pass as like a 19-year-old and just
Yeah.
move on with my life?
As soon as
Yeah.
I cruise physics. But what did you guys think of the trailer, though? Of course,
I'm
DC
down.
laptop.
I'm
Okay,
down
go
for
ahead,
the
John.
My Chemical Romance looking ass Batman, dude. I'm down.
He looks
for
great.
It. Yeah,
He
he
looks
does.
great. I mean,
It
it
was a
makes sense. It makes
was a
sense that he's
really
gonna have to
well-done
black
trailer.
his eyes.
Totally, and I'm honestly surprised that we haven't seen that. Have we seen it before? I don't know if we have.
None of the actor. I mean, sometimes in the comics, I feel they do draw him like that, where you can tell that he uses like some sort of eyeliner or makeup because it goes with the mask, depending on
Yeah.
the
Did
design
Bale
of the
never do
costume.
it in any of the three?
I don't know. Bale didn't
No.
do it. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
clear like a lot of the Batman had it done.
Yeah.
Oh, they all.
But
have it.
like
Yeah,
In
yeah,
all
never
of them,
without
yeah, every
them a
movie's
mask,
done it,
yeah.
but they just make it look like a mask. Yeah.
yeah.
and
I mean,
the
I
way
thought-
of adding that extra realism to it, and just like how they're talking about the Batmobile, like they want to be able to show
Dude,
like
the
the,
Batmobile
welding on
actually
it
looks
and things
awesome.
like that, so it looks more foundational as
Mhm.
something that could be happening. Someone goes.
I
rogue and
like
going
Yeah.
commando.
the idea of seeing Batman at this age because Christian Bale is like probably the youngest that we've seen on screen in the last couple decades.
Yeah,
Even going back
right?
to like the Michael Keaton, and he
Yeah.
still wasn't young when he did the movie. So this is, I know Arpat is looks younger than he is, but he looks very youthful, and I think
But
it's
I think
going to
he's
be
being
interesting to
presented
see.
younger too.
Totally, and it's going to be interesting to see like that phase of Batman's life. The trailer was very, very well done. I thought like the music in it was amazing. The stuff that they did show you was amazing. I like the idea of having the Riddler. It's gonna be awesome.
And a different take of the Riddler on film than we've gotten.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, definitely not like campy and cheesy. He
which
looks
again, I
terrifying
know
in this
Jeff will
trailer.
be quick to point out there's precedent for that portrayal of the Riddler throughout the Batman mythos. But
Yeah.
it is cool. It is cool also though to get a darker, seriouser sort of maybe Jigsaw-esque take on the Riddler in a
I
Batman
love
movie.
the Jim Carrey Riddler, so definitely no shade to that. But I don't know. I think this one looks really, really cool.
What did you think of it, Jeff?
Yeah, I absolutely liked it a lot. I think it's really cool. I've actually even seen the Twilight films. I watched them at the beginning of quarantine with my wife.
Boo.
And
Boo!
And you
I
liked
don't
them?
they're not terrible. I mean,
Oh.
I don't understand. It's vampires, werewolves. It's like a Romeo Juliet sort of thing. I don't think it's
Hang on tight,
that
Spider
bad,
Monkey.
honestly.
Who did
I
you
feel
side
that
with?
I feel that all the criticisms
Jeff's been
that
compromised.
this movie has gotten, the vampires are still cool. Who cares? Vampires don't sparkle. First off, vampires aren't real. So
Yes, they are.
uh,
I'm gonna say that to you every time you complain about some little minute detail of the thing you like.
but I feel all the criticism that this film has gotten so far is just because people are, painting Robert Pattinson in that corner that he was always in those teen vampire movies. He's age appropriate for the part. I think he looks fine. Batman is not always drawn that big. He's certainly not been played by that many like buff actors. I think Ben Affleck's the only one who's really been a muscular Batman. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's totally fine. I thought the costume looked cool. I liked it when he beat
Costume
the
looks
crap out of
very
that
cool.
one guy.
Dude, I am.
I thought
vengeance.
that was an excellent introduction. I also do like the idea of a different take on the Riddler. I of course love Frank Gorshin. I love Jim Carrey. I thought that was a really cool Riddler. That was my introduction to the Riddler, was the old Adam West show. But I also like the Riddler from the animated series, which was much more just clues
More
to crimes.
analytical and intellectual.
Yeah, it's very analytical and stuff like that. That's what I like about the Rogues Gallery is they all challenge Batman in very different ways, and we've never seen Detective Batman in any of the movies, and I'm really hoping that's what this is. I've heard people say it's like 7, but with Batman. It's like,
Love
yeah,
it.
all right,
That sounds
Into
great.
that.
cool. Yeah, I'll take it. It's so. I mean, I feel it's a different approach. It's like we've had so many Batman movies and we've had so many Batman, and now we possibly are going to have several Batman all at the same time. We've got to do something different with it, and I think this is
Totally.
going to be cool.
I was very excited by it, and I am a big fan of Jeffrey Wright, and I think he's going to be an awesome Commissioner Gordon as well. And I really liked his presence in the trailer. I thought came off very well, and I think he's going to be a great sort of person to play off of Robert Pattinson. Like, I just loved him. Like, does this mean anything to you? And he's there, and that's when you get your first look at the suit, which does look great, and it fits within the DC world that we currently have too. That's like, oh yeah, this is like proto version of what we maybe see. Maybe this is the same timeline as Justice League. We don't really know yet, kind of deal. But I thought it fit right in.
It feels way earlier.
I'm stoked. I am very super earlier, but on the same same timeline.
World.
Yeah. So I did like that the memes coming out of it almost all were My Chemical Romance themed about Robert Pattinson Batman, though.
Yeah.
That was one of the prevailing takeaways, was like, oh, he looks like the dude from My Chemical Romance. But I thought it was totally appropriate.
Feels like it could be potentially placed sometime between like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. I know it's not technically like the same timeline, in the DCEU, but it feels like early Batman career.
Well, it's supposed to be like year 2, isn't it?
Because there is supposedly
Okay.
going to be a year 1 movie as well.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say Batman Begins is year 1. So.
Absolutely,
exactly.
that's a tall order to beat that as a year 1 movie for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there was
Yeah.
Batman
Curious to
Year
see.
1, and they did do an
The
animated
animated
one
film,
with
and that was
Yeah.
good. They did a good job with that.
It'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
how they do Riddler and Penguin. I know that they're not going like full Penguin this movie, but like how far they take that and how they transition to that will be really interesting.
Well, and then the argument is, what is full Penguin? Because I mean, depending on the interpretation of Penguin, he really is sometimes nothing more than like a gangster anyway,
Correct.
and kind of like a dark Bruce Wayne. I forget
I
which
tell you
Batman
what.
movie came out. It may have been like it wasn't Batman Begins. It may have been like Dark Knight, and it was like Discovery Channel had like this awesome like documentary on Batman, and it like dissected a lot of his villains, and it was like how they relate to Batman, and if they were like a dark mockery of Bruce or of Batman, and how they matched up with him. And it was just really well done. And Penguin was one of the ones that they described.
Well,
And
so
it's kind of like
this?
Bruce Wayne going in the wrong direction, and it's like that was like Oswald Cobblepot, because
Of-
they were both
of-
old money in Gotham,
Yeah.
and it's just he represented a lot of the things that Bruce Wayne just is not. And I
Yeah.
like that.
It is almost two sides of the Gotham elite. But one of the things I have to say about like the Batman Rogues Gallery and just especially the early drawings, I don't think you'd find a better drawn Batman character than the Penguin, in my opinion. Am I right, Jeff?
Well, maybe Two-Face.
Maybe, but I just feel like Bob Kane really nailed the artwork with the Penguin as the creator of Batman. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
I think all the drawings are solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also the tracings of the shadow.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
I mean, if we're gonna steal the concept of the shadow, which is what the writer did, we might as well also steal the
1000%.
illustrations.
Yeah, look, I'm a big shadow guy. Everybody knows that.
It's just a house of cards. We either give credit to everyone or to no one, Mark.
Should give it to everyone. Correct.
There's a lot suggesting
I'm talking about
we're
people
gonna
that
see-
predate Kane and Finger.
There's a lot suggesting that we're going to
Street
see
Smith
some Court of Owls
Publications.
stuff in here.
Yeah, so the Arkham Knight game also released like footage for that, and I'm very excited for that. It looked Gotham Knights, excuse me. Arkham Knight was the previous one. Gotham Knight.
Well, it's always nighttime because he blends in the shadows. Can't fight during the day. That's what's stupid about Dark Knight Rises.
The night's a very dark time for me.
It's like the Pete Holmes sketch.
The Gotham Knights one though it looks cool. I love the idea that you can be, Nightwing, you can be Jason Todd, and Batgirl, and all that stuff. And I love that the Court of Owls are involved. But it's a bummer to me that the Court of Owls are finally involved in this really cool video game, Batman universe, and Batman ostensibly is dead from the start of the game. So it's like, man, I wanted to be Batman and face off with the Court of Owls. I guess I'll just be Nightwing then.
Dude,
instead.
but people are
Dick Grayson's better anyway.
That Court of Owls are going to be part of this new like Robert Pattinson Batman world though, and that there's hints to it in the trailer for this.
I think that there should be. Even if we don't ever get a Court of Owls movie, I just think it would be cool Easter eggs throughout that they are present in whatever Batman world we're doing, because that's the if you haven't read the Scott Snyder Court of Owls arc, do it. And it's just there's so many cool little things that you can even just find in the artwork that are little Easter eggs that they're always around. So I would really love that.
And kudos if you find the BDNS Court of Owls Easter eggs that are on the internet if you search DTN.
Davis is lying half naked somewhere with an owl mask in the Robert Pattinson movie. So, big prize if you can find him in there. But what about the Gotham Knights game, Mark? What'd you think?
I think it looks incredible. Just the fact that we get Batman games almost yearly, it feels like. How many
it's like Call of Duty.
There? Yeah, and it's always Batman, and it's always, it's mostly always great, right? But one of the things is you're always Batman. And so now they're finally doing this in a similar fashion of all these Arkham games where we've had tons of them, but you get to play his extended family. One of the great things about Batman is his extended family. And so getting to put us into a story.
Except Damian Wayne, you're right.
But it's Tim Drake.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, except Damian Wayne, who sucks.
He's just taking another jab at Damian Wayne.
Yep, never miss my opportunity.
You really don't.
And so getting to play them, and the fact that you get to play them as the family together in like a co-op, you can do 4-person co-op, all traveling together through the city.
I like that.
Looks incredible.
That is cool.
The games always look pretty beautiful as well. But tying in the Court of Owls and that seeming to be the big bad and undercurrent of what this is, and that Batman's dead. My theory here is that Batman's going to be brought back in as some sort of Talon, and then of course you're going to get a turnaround at the end.
And then
you gotta
the
rescue
Joker,
him, man.
The Joker is actually the one behind the Court of Owls the whole time, probably because they can't do a Batman game without having the Joker involved in some way.
Play the hits
after they kill him, even after they kill him. No, I am excited for it. It looks really cool. I am stoked to play as Nightwing. The gameplay looks sick. It really does. So I'm bought into that. Other things from fandom, Mark or Jeff or anybody that we saw come out of there before we move on.
The
Suicide
Flash movie,
Squad.
right? Or Suicide Squad. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you talk about it. I haven't watched it, but I'll chime in. I just think those are probably the two biggest stories.
Yeah, so the Flash movie, with a lot of the revelations of doing Flashpoint, of course, they did a couple snippets of Ezra Miller's new suit, which looks super electrified, which is great, where it's like the living lightning coursing through the suit. They just showed a couple concepts of that. But the overall, again, just how they put together the panel was delightful. It was comical, how you kind of want Barry Allen to be, and very fast-paced and snappy. Flash facts, things like that. It made it digestible and just highly entertaining. It kept my attention, and I'm glad Ezra Miller's still attached, because I think he's actually a really good Barry Allen. But
he's grown on me.
Yeah, he's definitely nailed it. Did you guys see the crossover with the television Grant Gustin Flash?
I saw the
Infinite
picture of the two of
Crisis?
them together, which I thought was really cool. How awesome is that? Honestly,
super
just from
cool.
like a fan standpoint, like I always wanted to see them together. I mean, Grant Gustin is one of the reasons why I didn't want Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Correct.
Because I really liked Grant Gustin.
Gustin.
And I loved the first season of The Flash, and I loved him being introduced on Arrow. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
And I mean, first season of Flash is some of the best superhero TV we've ever gotten.
Yep.
That and Arrow. Yeah.
And so if you haven't watched their meetup, do it now. I'm sure it's all over the internet. But there's just times with them where they're like, wait, who are you? What's that? Wait, I'm Barry Allen. They both say it at the same time. No! They're like freaking out, like mimicking each other. And then it's like Ezra Miller hasn't been called like the Flash yet. So like when Grant Gustin calls himself like, I'm the Flash, he's like, the Flash, that's good. I like that.
I mean, there is some great fan service going on. It's just really awesome to see. And yeah, the Flashpoint announcement and that we will be seeing Michael Keaton again as Batman is just so cool to me.
Dude, what if this is the decade of DC, man?
It could be.
You
Marvel's
listen to the
dead.
Best Damn
Last
Nerd
10.
Show, and it absolutely is. We're a DC podcast now.
Yeah.
That's just what we do.
Give the people what they want.
But
I mean, listen, I want all the superhero movies to be good, so
absolutely.
Fair enough.
You mentioned this
We're all winners.
Suicide Squad, Mark, and I liked how they announced, everybody that they showed like this sort of comic book cell shaded artwork announcing all the cast and everything. And I'm stoked to see John Cena pop in there as the Peacemaker, which is who the comedian, who Comedian is based off of.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
Jeff wins every time with this guy. But yeah, I was excited for that. I know, Mark, you and I are stoked because Nathan Fillion is going to be in the Suicide Squad. So I know
Pass twice.
So the thing is like they announced that there's, I think, like 18 members of the squad, which means people are actually going to be dying off.
I love it.
King Shark dead.
Yeah, James Gunn, like he really dug in and like got a whole bunch of different characters out there. And I'm gonna tell you, man, Nathan Fillion's character was it TDK? No idea who that is. Of like everyone they went
he
over,
might die off
he's gonna
Like,
cameo.
maybe
and just get
actually
killed
might make
immediately.
this a great movie.
I think he probably cameos and gets killed almost immediately.
It's
If you don't know who
possible.
if you don't know who he is, Mark, that's the first thing that pops into my head.
The Rock in Reno 911.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to put the thing in the thing.
Speaking of which, can't wait for The Rock to be Black Adam, by the way. That's going to be awesome.
That looks great. I love the fact that with Black Adam, like, of course they haven't done any filming at all, but it's been talked about so much that The Rock felt like he had to come and bring content. So we partnered up with people at DC to do
Love that guy.
animated like shells and motion comic sort of things to like talk about what kind of concept film they want to showcase. And announcing that it's going to have Hawkman, Dr. Fate, who else? Cyclone and Atom Smasher from the JSA. This is like the fact that we're gonna have a Dr. Fate in a movie.
I love Dr. Fate, dude.
That is
blows
awesome.
my mind. Nabu kicks ass, and I want to see him. So
Naboo, the home of the Gungans.
whoever he's gonna be, wherever the helmet lands,
Yeah. No, Dr.
I
Fate's
think
cool,
that's
though.
pretty exciting. Yeah,
Absolutely.
But,
I mean, They really hit it out of the park, and there's going to be a part 2 for DC fandom. So, and we're going to talk Batman coming up on a future episode of the Best Damn Nerd Show as well. So I know we'll revisit a lot of this stuff. But before we go to break, I just want to point out, I hope that you enjoyed our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Power Rangers episode. Of course, we released that in honor of National Power Rangers Day, which is, the day of our recording here. So, I love it when a plan comes together,
Yeah, we definitely didn't fuck up the recording of our last episode, and we're desperately trying to fix it in post right now.
Yeah, no. It certainly has nothing to do with it doing emergency audio surgery on an episode that we had planned to release. And it's not like we had that one in the can talking about things that had long since passed in the first segment. We just knew that National Power Rangers Day was coming up, and we wanted to give that to you. So I you know what, the audience reception to it has been great too. And it really has been, as we talked about through that episode, like 2 really powerful fandoms. And I gotta admit, it was cool seeing all the Power Rangers fans, and there's a part of me that feels like I missed out, but it was cool watching the interaction on Discord.
It was kind of like when all the Rangers came together, in that one episode I was telling you about.
Jeff and I never spoke about it, but I know he felt like I did. Just vindicated that all these Rangers fans bravely stepped out of the shadows.
We all love the Turtles here, though, too. So that was the cool thing about it.
Yeah, but that's a given.
So.
Yeah, I thought I loved the Turtles, so I re-listened to your argument for the Turtles. You, Davis, and Mark, it was a PU.
Well, Davis was half asleep during the episode, and listen, you're welcome, everybody out there that likes pizza, because without the Ninja Turtles, we wouldn't be eating it in this day.
Dude, I was driving home from work today getting angry thinking about your stupid pizza argument. I was like, I like to eat pizza, and I think it's because the Turtles like to eat pizza.
That's not...
I was like, I want to make fun of James next time I talk to him about that.
Well, here we are. And I
should have made fun of you hours ago for that.
Pizza party as a kid. That's you're welcome from the Ninja Turtles. But yeah, happy Power Rangers Day and whatever the I'm sure Beetleborgs or something is coming up soon. So it was good. It was
Big Bad Beetleborgs were cool.
It was a good episode. My mom even checked it out and listened.
Hey.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm so proud I could have contributed to your childhood. I remember standing in line for hours to get you a Power Ranger."
And then she realized which side you were on, and she was like, "Oh, I failed
for
him."
Sure. No, it was great. I mean, I still got my Black Ranger. My brother got a red.
Like, you didn't
she
even
got
like
a blue.
him?
Like, you ungrateful little shit.
I was just ashamed. Because I felt
that says more about you than the Power Rangers. But that says more about you.
I still liked him. But the best thing from it, though,
you can always like Power Rangers around me, son. Right?
Yeah,
but
my
mom,
I'll still love you.
My mom fessed up that her favorite on the show is Tim.
Well, Tim is.
Oh,
wow.
My God.
Yeah.
Don't let him hear this.
I was like,
cut that out.
Thanks, Mom.
Edit that out.
Wow. No, even I'm offended by that. Mrs. Trex, how long have you known me?
Tim is funny, so dry.
Tim's
Thanks,
so dry he
Mom.
chafes, man. Tim
is an agent of
true.
chaos.
Yeah, he should see somebody about that. But it was very cool just hearing all the positive reaction to the episode. I hope you all had fun listening to that one that was completely planned out on why we released it when we did. We are going to get into party video games specifically because of just this whirlwind of fun that we've been having playing Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. So we're going to start getting into that on the other side on the Best Damn Nerd Show. And welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. Bimbo Jimbo, Jeff Bud, John Craig, and Mark Truex here with you. And we are going to start getting into party games, specifically, of course, party video games, not like charades and the like, but actual video games. I mean, maybe there's a charades video game that I don't know about, but I doubt it. But we're going to be talking about specifically party video games mainly because we all fell in love with Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. But we want to start off this segment here sort of defining what you consider a party game to be. And there's a couple of games, when we were looking into doing this episode, my imagination obviously ran away with me into genres that don't technically qualify, but because I'm a nostalgic sort, and that's a big part of this show, I immediately jumped to sort of games that we would play at sleepovers together. Like, I know Mark and I, many a night spent playing, WCW versus NWO Revenge and WrestleMania 2000 and the like. And obviously, wrestling games are their own subgenre. But, when we start talking about these style of games and even just playing Fall Guys with you all, it just made me think about, gosh, when we were kids and how much fun it was to get together and just game all night long on these, various multiplayer games. But Jeff, I defer to you in terms of the expert on what will define actually a party game, as you did the most research here. But the one that got the most questions, and even some of certain select VIP elite members of our listenership that I talked to in preparing for this episode, the first game that came up, even among them, was, well, does Super Smash Brothers qualify as a party game?
Absolutely, yes.
No, it's a fighting game.
And first of all, I hope that exclusive listener is part of the Patreon. Otherwise, I'm going to need you to stop talking to them via DM.
Yeah, why are you talking to listeners before we actually do the show?
Hold on.
Well,
James
needs
is.
to know what his opinion is.
He actually is.
I want the listeners to like me.
What Patreon is that?
That is the Tenno Media Patreon. So you go to patreon.com/TennoMedia or bestdamnnerdshow.com/Patreon, I think. And also get in on the conversation on our Discord, which is bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord. So
Wait,
there's all your plugs.
Is this a party game segment?
Yeah.
Dude,
the party is on Discord
Smash
and Patreon.
Bros is absolutely a party game. Okay? Just because it doesn't have mini games does not
Which
mean
is what
that
makes it a party game. A
round
party
is its own
game is not a
mini
game
game.
that you play at a party. A party game is a video game that's a collection of many different mini games. That is the definition of a party game. That's the whole reason why they call it Mario Party. They take Mario. That's all Nintendo does. They take Mario's name and slap it on something. If they slap it on tennis, the characters are playing tennis in the fucking game. They
Mario
slap
Tennis.
it on kart, they're driving go-karts. If you slap
put
it
a
on party,
stethoscope on 'em.
it's a fucking party game.
Yeah,
You can
Dr.
play any of
Mario.
them with your friends at a
You gather
sleepover.
around
I
and
don't
have
give
a
two
party while you
shits.
play it.
But that doesn't make it a party game.
They put them on paper. It's Paper Mario.
No, that's Mario paper. You got to do the equation. Kids aren't buying paper, they're buying Mario. And they've been doing it for over 30 years.
I'm no good at this. I mean, but Super Smash Bros. Is one that came up amongst ourselves too. Is like, should we include that in the talk about? And I think maybe it's because, like, as Jeff said, it is a fighting game. But it's it's obviously.
And don't get me
It's
wrong,
funny 'cause
I
the
love
fighting game
Super Smash
community
Brothers.
Sometimes doesn't consider it a fighting game.
Oh, like I care what those elitist snobs think. All right, first, I'm sorry, guys, but your backwards cousin, Smash Brothers, is a part of your genre. It's not a racing game.
Yeah.
It's not a. I mean, some of the levels are platformers, I suppose, but no, it's a fighting game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember years before Smash Brothers came out, there was this kid talking at school. I don't know how he knew, but he goes, "There's a Mario game coming out that's going to be like Street Fighter," and that's how he described it. And I remember thinking, I was like, I imagined it in such a stupid way. I was imagining Mario dressed up as Ryu. I was like, I don't know about this.
Well, it does have the
That sounds
fireball
really
precedent.
dumb.
It
And he
works out.
throws fireballs.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
does
like
have that as precedent.
I feel like, okay, maybe it deserves another genre of like social games, which are essentially they can.
But
be
isn't that any
games-
multiplayer video game?
That is
Because I know another one that was brought up when we were discussing this in Discord was GoldenEye. Now that is a first-person shooter, but its
Multiplayer.
multiplayer.
I would argue.
is legendary.
I would argue that it's not every multiplayer game because it would be something that brings everyone together under the same roof and encourages like trading and winter stays on and just like a nice group social in real life environment. I think GoldenEye does that. I think Smash does that. I think like Halo back in the day did that. But there's not a lot of games that do it to the extent that those games did. And I think, maybe it's not a genre per se, but maybe we can categorize or create our own little category of social games.
They're definitely.
But like, is
were
that a
lot of-
genre or is that just the best games of their type? You know what I mean?
They're
There's a reason why
definitely-
we still talk about them.
There definitely were a lot of games in the late 90s and early 2000s that sort of were multiplayer phenoms that that were sort of spurred more of that, like, let's all get together and play this game. GoldenEye was certainly one of them. Tony Hawk Pro Skater was another one.
Oh,
of them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Playing horse on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
That was the best.
so much fun. So much fun.
That was
And
the
I would
best.
argue that Mario Kart was that as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64, which I do think is superior. Nintendo 64 might be my favorite console of all time. I think it's got some of the best games. It holds up. It still
I would
operates to
agree
this
with
day.
that. I would
Yeah.
agree with
Think
that.
durable as hell.
I mean,
But
you
Mark,
could drop
where do you fall-
one of the old TVs on it and would have
But
survived.
even the wrestling games for N64 were
Mhm.
those were like I remember.
Well, you just
Mark,
mentioned
and
two
I-
amazing ones.
Yeah,
the
Mark,
best.
you and I growing up, the
Mhm.
rec center in our hometown, GoldenEye and those wrestling games were mainstays, and those were such
Yep.
like a bit. I remember like one of my, and I'm sure we'll talk about this again down the line when we revisit GoldenEye and everything like that because it's such an important game. But one of my sort of proudest early gaming moments was beating a bunch of older kids at the rec center to stay on for GoldenEye. John, you're talking about like win and stay on.
Well,
And
you
it was just
screen
like-
look is what
I-
I mostly
I
talk
don't
about,
screen
but-
look.
That's
but
why
just like,
James
man.
likes the old style where they were all on one TV.
Yeah.
What's it
It's
like not being
ridiculous.
able to screen look
I was
anymore,
a
Jim?
crusader against screen looking.
Yeah, once
Fuck
once
the
things went
rec
purely
center.
online, James was like, "I'm out."
Wait,
Fuck
hey,
the
wait,
rec
guys,
center
we
and
interrupted
playing
James in the
GoldenEye.
middle of his lie. Could you continue with your lie now about how you
Please. Okay,
beat
no,
those
I'm
older
good.
kids?
Thank you. Fuck
No, he
you.
beat them. He beat them. Just not fair.
I
Go ahead,
tried to
Mark.
play GoldenEye at the rec center once, and like I got around in, and someone was picking Boris. And I remember being like, Boris, he's a douche. And I got kicked out of the rec center. They're like, using such language in here, you got to go pick up 15 pieces of litter before you can come back. And I said, fuck that. I'm leaving. Never
Did
went
you
back to
literally
the
say
rec
fuck
center.
that?
There's a pattern.
Yeah.
here. I'm detecting
This
a
is
pattern.
Oregon Trail all
Fuck the
over
rec
again.
center.
I was just gonna say,
I'm going to
this
go
is,
play with my friends, not a bunch of strangers sitting around on this communal couch.
Now, if-
reminiscent of the Oregon Trail.
I feel like if
story,
they would have
Mark.
picked Odd Job and that was your reaction, I don't think they would have had any grounds to kick you out because that's just cheating. You're picking. a
James was
character that's
always
half
Odd
the
Job.
size.
He
Always
is my
Odd Job,
worst.
always
Oh, and the penny drops. It all comes together.
I actually lament that they made Odd Job so short, and I would love to talk to the
Lament
creators
as
because
you pick him.
because
Yeah,
he's my
why'd you pick
favorite
him then?
James,
All
he's
the
my
time.
favorite James Bond villain. And somebody was
No.
usually always James Bond.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Goldfinger is my favorite James Bond movie, and he's my favorite Bond movie. However,
No.
I don't think that Odd Job was created in that game to be Odd Job. I think they got Knick Knack and
Yeah,
Odd
they
Job
mixed up-
confused.
Yeah, they mixed up the
and,
two
and-
characters.
and that's why they made him so short. Odd
Yeah.
Job is not
So
that short of a character.
Then
It was a
definitely
complete
don't pick
design
him in
flaw.
that instance.
I like Odd Job though, and I never thought that I would
But
get to
it's
play him in a
Knick-Knack.
video game.
Yeah.
No,
They designed him incorrectly.
You're retroactively.
I
liking
actually
Odd
liked being
Job.
him, and I liked being the Siberian Special Forces because I thought they looked cool. And Perfect Dark, which was
They
the
did look
follow up
cool.
to
They did look cool.
they looked fucking sick. Perfect
But
Dark, the follow up, and you could
that's-
design your multiplayer character.
I remember
That
that.
was-
game.
Yeah.
That was a really cool evolution in that. But we're trying to talk party games, and I do mostly agree that it's a different sort of subsect, but it is that idea that there were certain games during that time period that just really spurred that sort of that social interaction.
Mhm.
And that's where my mind raced to when we were getting ready to do this episode.
Yeah.
But technically, yes, Super Smash Brothers doesn't qualify, but what a phenomenon it was when it came out. It is a fighting
yeah.
game,
Still,
but it
It's
yeah,
still
but
out and still popular.
I
Yeah.
feel like with Smash Bros. What separates it from so many other fighting games, though, is that you're on a platform that, first of all, you can get pushed off to lose. And so it's kind of like everyone's just trying to stay on the platform.
Like Dragon Ball Z
Similar.
Budokai.
And there's so
Or
many
Virtua
different
Fighter back in the day.
environmental
Yeah, and
hazards
yeah,
coming
it's not
through.
like there aren't fighting games that have that.
But with all the other environmental hazards that can come and boot you off, too, that you're trying to stay on there with. I thought it added a whole
yeah,
bunch
it's
of element
gimmick
that...
stuff.
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
definitely
I
felt
felt
very
like it
different
added
than
a
any other
separate
fighting
element
game.
than the normal fighting, yeah.
And also just the presentation of it, given the characters that it was using, was so bright. It definitely like the sort of color and presentation is Fall Guys reminiscent, as we are going to be talking about that, just because it was so bright and sort of
Mhm.
fun and vibrant looking. It was very different than a lot of sort of fighting games. I love the marketing campaign for Smash Brothers too. That it
The
was
old one?
Yeah, it was like the So Happy Together.
Yeah.
Music,
People in
and
giant
then by the end,
costumes.
they're just like beating the crap out of each other. It was so fun.
I know, I
It
miss
was
those days.
I forgot
Yeah.
about those. Those were
Yeah.
that was good stuff. But yeah, Super Smash Brothers, I think it technically doesn't qualify. In absentia, Professor Chris Davis has sent in a list of his favorite party
here
video
we go.
games,
Was he
and
drunk when he wrote these?
so he was not a part of this conversation.
King's Cup.
So so clocking in at number 5, he put Rock Band, which Rock Band and Guitar Hero are those party games. They're definitely very different than like they're not
Oh,
mini game
man.
based, but
I wish he was
they're
here
different.
'cause when we first met Davis, we told the story of him arriving at the dorm, and we had already, the fire department was already there. But like day 2 on, he was in our living room like 90% of the time. I don't know if he ever went to class that year, but he was in our living room 90% of the time, basically completely nude, maybe wearing underwear sometimes, and either playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Rock Band or Guitar Hero, I guess, before Rock Band, but
Yeah.
Guitar Hero just 24/7. And we have some great memories of some Rock Band shenanigans later on in our group fun together, but he was dedicated to Guitar Hero, and it was a social game for him.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, he's all about that game.
Jeff, I want you, if you can, regale us with this story, and we can have Davis on the next episode correct any incongruencies. But we were at a convention, and just talk about your experience with Davis entering a Guitar Hero tournament and how that whole thing ended up.
Well, I was just thinking, it's like, Davis, don't you have crab soccer or dodgeball class now? What are you doing in the living room? Yeah, we both signed up for a Guitar Hero tournament.
Yeah.
And it was very Ryu and Ken, because we were placed on like very separate brackets. We could have met in the championship round if I was good at the game, which I was not. I was eliminated very early on.
And he is good at the game.
And Davis is amazing at the game. Davis, all right, long story short, he wins the tournament. But he's fully clothed at the beginning of the tournament.
When I left you guys,
yeah,
we were both fully clothed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, all right, it was open bar, first of all.
It
was open bar a couple of hours before the tournament began, because Davis and I were really shit-faced by the time we even found out that there was a tournament. And as soon as we did, the two of us were like, oh my God, a Guitar Hero tournament. And we signed up immediately. Davis, when he plays Guitar Hero, is kind of like Goku from like old Dragon Ball Z episodes, where like he just starts removing clothing because it's actually just weighted armor. And it's like he's got to go up another level. And so by the end of it, he's
like
still
Nappa, more importantly, because he's bald. So.
He's Krillin, world's strongest man. So yeah, he still had his pants on, but yeah, he's completely naked, waist up. And there's pictures of him. I had a picture up in my old apartment of the two of us together with his award, but he's got the guitar around his neck, and he's so serious. He's so in the zone. He had a tie on. He put the tie back on after he took his shirt and jacket off.
Dude, Davis is a pro wrestler.
I call that business casual.
I think I recall walking in, and he's like in the championship round or close to it, completely shirtless.
He kicked that guy's ass.
Only
he kicked his ass.
People are cheering for him and chanting his name. And oddly, like, that's not the only time I've heard people like chanting his name and cheering for him. Like, Davis is just that guy, and I'm glad he's not here because I wouldn't want to say this in front of him, but he just
because we're healthy.
Yes, he
Our
is that guy
relationships are so healthy.
that he just grabs the imagination and attention of a room, and he can't help but win them over.
Yeah, he's a man of the people.
He's charismatic as hell.
He's
that was
absolutely man of the people. That's one of my favorite stories.
It was masterful to behold. He was amazing.
He is the Guitar Hero. So clocking
that is the Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's not a party game.
He's the Jerry West of guitar. Yeah, sorry, Rock Band's not a party game. You piece of shit.
He's the icon. But yeah, it is fun to play with friends, though. Like, if we're just talking about games that are fun to play with friends, I remember playing Guitar Hero with friends, and it's like I'm not even good at the game, and I love doing it. And it is those things where, yeah, two guys playing at the same time, everybody else is like sitting on the couch. Yeah. One of those L couches or something. I love that. That was so great.
Absolutely. Clocking at number 4 for Davis is one that we didn't really talk about that maybe is worthwhile. Wii Sports.
No.
Okay.
Dude.
Well, like the whole Wii system was practically a party system. It felt like they had so many different games coming out that were just meant to be in conjunction with someone else getting active.
Dude, Wii Sports, cool. Man. Like, I got tired of that shit so fast. Like, I mean, it was very cool when you first did it. And then it doesn't take long for the realization to sink in that this is it. And it's like, all right, now we need to pop in an actual video game because I'm not going to just do this.
Tennis.
Well, and that's what their tennis game was like also. Yeah. I used to play Mario Tennis with an ex-girlfriend who was really into tennis, and she despised that game. She thought she would love it.
The Wii, the one that told you to take a break?
Yeah.
Like, if you're playing it too much, why not take a break?
Don't judge me.
Yeah,
game.
Exactly. I bought you. You belong to me.
Don't judge the amount of free time I have.
Yeah, dude, could you imagine it now? So it just shuts down without any warning. It's like, yeah, you're done for the day. So he has Wii Sports clocking number 4. Mark, you seem to not be a fan of that.
No, Wii Sports is good.
No, he liked it.
I could,
Okay.
yeah, I could see that as a party. Because again, like for me,
How
a
is that
party
a party?
game has to be something where it's successive rounds of things, and so there can be a fair amount of rotation happening without necessarily like a storyline being had. And so it's tons of different mini games or mini rounds and things like that. That's my feel of it. So if you're gonna do Wii Sports, you're not just playing one sport. You're not just doing the one like archery all the time. You're going through all the different games.
You're gonna do boxing. You're gonna do Wii bowling was my favorite one of the Wii Sports. I loved that. And then you got people complaining. It's like, oh, the sensor's all screwed up and everything. People that have like their curve, and if it's not working
Fast
on the visiting
rounds.
It did not pick up on my pitching correctly in the baseball game. The sensors were off. I would have pitched a perfect game. That was completely incorrect. No, the game is broken, not me.
You're like John Nash in A Beautiful Mind. The game is flawed. You just can't handle it. At number 3, and John, you'll be able to speak to this, Jackbox Games. He's got Jackbox at number 3. What do you think about those games, John?
They're a cool idea. It's like they are very social. I mean, they're meant for like large groups and people, syncing up their phones and answering trivia questions or fun social games.
I forget it's like up to 8, isn't it?
I think so.
No, some of the games are even more than that. Like you can have up to like 16.
It is fun. It's super, super fun. It feels more like a board game in a video game form. And I feel like it's dangerous territory if you start allowing those into this category, because then it's kind of never ending with like Uno and Monopoly and all these other games that have been turned into video games, Risk even.
Risk is
but
great.
I think
Mario Party's a board game also.
That's what I was going to say.
I
is that
know.
Mario Party.
That's how they
tough.
present it. I mean, it's just the way
tough.
that they present it.
It's tough. Yeah, but yeah.
It's like crap.
But the board game is the portal
Shut
into
up,
the
Mark.
mini games, I guess, which is your argument. Is the mini games?
I think the Jackbox games definitely qualify.
It is a party game. I
Yeah.
consider it a party game. And honestly, even some of the things that Mark said about Wii Sports, I can understand how, as a collection, it could potentially, possibly,
if you're playing
be
the whole
Sports
considered
with an S.
a
There's
party
an S
game.
at the end. Multiple sports, not just Wii Sport. Therefore, you got.
What a great day for sports.
Wii Deportes. At number 2, Davis has Mario Party, which we're going to talk about extensively later on in the show. So I think we all agree Mario Party.
I don't think that one's a party game.
we don't agree.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to talk more about Mario Party, but number
You guys
1,
are right. It is the party game.
Yeah, I'm sure Jeff, rankles you that it is not number 1. At number 1, Davis has Mario Kart, which is a racing game. It is definitely one of those social games that we talked about, but he's not the beneficiary of really being a big part of this discussion. So he has Mario Kart as number 1.
So he includes that, but he still doesn't have Smash on there?
Yeah, it's Davis's list, man. Maybe he's not a Smash fan. I was surprised to see him have Rock Band over Guitar Hero. I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was more a Guitar Hero guy. That was
Me
weird.
too.
Yeah, what's his
Weird
problem?
guy.
Rock Band, you get more people though.
I guess
That's
that
true.
maybe that was his reasoning in throwing in Rock Band there. But yeah, Mario Kart he had
What about
coming
Wii Sports?
in at number 1.
I think Kart.
Oh, really?
Undeniably,
Oh.
Kart
Nice.
is a great social game and has brought all of us together in various forms to lose to women because they're significantly better at Mario Kart games than men are.
It's uncanny.
Yeah, but for the purposes of this episode, I do think that we have to agree with Jeff and set some parameters. Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be doing 8-hour episodes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I will
Which I'd be
say
fine with, but
that as Mario
we don't
Kart
have that
goes,
kind of
I
time.
guess.
I'm going to be like the Wii. Why not take a break?
Well, the fact that Mario Kart has like the battle segments of it separated from your standard racing games like Need for Speed or Gran Turismo or other things like
It's
that.
not a
Those
simulation.
are very different.
It's not a racing simulation.
Yeah, I mean, Mark is making a great point because I think it is just sort of that charisma and cachet of the Mario character and Nintendo that makes any game that he's attached to feel like a party, because he's just, the Nintendo brand is that much stronger than Sega. So
Well, then what about Diddy Kong Racing?
Diddy Kong Racing, I don't think has the same appeal as Mario Kart.
Dude, Diddy Kong Racing was amazing.
Diddy Kong Racing was good.
And Mario Kart has had to steal. Diddy Kong Racing is almost like the XFL, because Mario Kart has stolen a lot of ideas that were first presented there.
Yep.
And
The Rock by Diddy Kong Racing.
Good for him if he did.
It could. Hey, probably got a steal just like he did with the XFL. But that was Davis's list. We have set sort of our parameters. And again, the main reason for this episode is Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, which we're going to talk about on the other side. So why not take a break? We'll be back with more on the Best Damn Nerd Show. Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. Bimbo Jimbo with Jeff Budd, John Craig, and Mark Truex. And we can finally get into the reason why this episode is even happening when it is, and that is Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. It is absolutely a party game, as we spent all of last segment defining maybe what is or is not. This one definitely qualifies, and maybe it is the perfect...
I don't know anymore. I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know. What is a party game?
Yeah, we gave a lot of ground there in the last segment, but we're here to talk about Fall Guys. I'm excited to discuss it with you because it might be the perfect game for the pandemic. It's really, it has the captive audience, and you're able to play it, all of us together and with like 55 other people, essentially, or 56 other people if we're all four playing at once. And it's so simple, but it's deliriously fun. It's really just funny. Even when you suck at it, it's still, in my opinion, enjoyable. Tim might not agree with that, as Tim has railed in Discord about how much he hates the game. But I love it. And, Segs told me to download it a few weeks ago, and it was, it's been free in August. So, we're recording this in late August. So it is, at this point, taken the sort of gaming world by storm. I've watched the TheQuartering tournament streams for it, which are a lot of fun. I think it's a perfect game for that because essentially the premise of it, you're playing these weird sort of like jelly bean looking type characters that are on essentially like a most extreme elimination challenge type game show, which I hadn't really thought about that show in a long time. But now after playing Fall Guys, it really does remind me so much of some of the games in there. And when you set it to commentary, it's even more so like most extreme elimination challenge, because you have people just sort of crapping on all the players on stream that are just failing horribly at this game. And it's a lot of fun. It's incredibly social. Jeff, we'll start with you. Just what has attracted you about Fall Guys?
I think it's just sort of the simplicity of it. There's like no risk involved, because if your character like dies or falls off an edge, you just go back to the last starting point and you can just keep going. If you don't make it to the next round, you can exit out, start a new game.
Yeah.
It's just and I don't know, it's just like fun. It's just a very simple, fun game. It's the kind of thing that if you're playing by yourself, you can have like a podcast or something on in the background and just keep going.
Perhaps
you lose
the
track
best
of
damn
time. Or exactly. Or if you're with all of us together, we're all just chatting and everything like that. It got to the point where it's like if I'm eliminated, but like John's still going, I'm having fun just watching John, because also it's just all of us having a conversation at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you talk about that. It's like there's nothing really at stake, and that's exactly how I felt when I first started playing it. But then, of course, as I got very early eliminated and I saw you continuing on, Jeff, I got so invested almost immediately wanting to see you win that I think you were playing tail tag, and that is a very stressful mini game of Fall Guys. And that when you ended up with a tail at the very end in advance, I just yelled at the top of my lungs into the mic because I was so excited for you. And that was like 10 minutes into playing the game. So it definitely is very silly. And, there's no story or real buy-in to it or anything like that. John, what do you like about it?
I like it for the same reason Jeff does. And I remember after the first night playing it, like logging off and going to bed and just thinking like, man, do you remember when video games were fun? Because it seems like now everything is created with so much complexity. Like there are so many complex systems that you have to learn, even in a lot of single player games. There's so many complex systems you have to learn even to like be able to function in the game. And some of we were just talking about Sega Genesis games during the break, which was, the best console of all time. And honestly, what made the games of that era so great and also so hard was the simplicity. Like the games weren't hard because you might forget a control or you might forget some random like menu or inventory item that you need to activate before you do something. It's just straight up, did you jump over the goddamn pit or did you fall in? And that's exactly what this game is. It's so simple, but also so complicated because of that.
It's
And
incredibly frustrating.
yeah, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great because they took all the great they took a lot of inspiration from Mario Party's mini games, but then they also took a lot of inspiration from like battle royale genre, which you start with 100 players on an island, and then the
Yeah.
ring gets smaller and smaller, forcing it down to a couple players in like a final circle, which is a really really intense kind of clutch matchup to see who wins. This game does the same thing. So there's several rounds of elimination, weeding it down to a smaller and smaller group that makes it to the championship round. And you duke it out from there. The night that we all played together, I made it to championship round after championship round and just fell short every time.
Dude, you have one of the most you have one of the most heartbreaking stories, which we can get into a moment. But one of the things in playing with you, like when I was playing with Jeff, I was certainly not good at it, and I don't think that it's one of those games like how good can you really be, because they are designed to be frustratingly flawed. Sort of like little playable characters, just how top heavy they are, how they fall over and they bounce around and all that stuff. But, like I could at least make it to the second or third round or whatever and have a good time. Then, knowing that invariably when we got to like slime climb or something like that, it's like, well, that's my time. I'm not gonna make it past that. But playing with John, I think I made it past the first round once.
Yeah.
It was essentially me watching you play.
We got seesaw every single first round, and that's like your worst stage by far. And maybe not anymore.
Of the early ones, maybe.
Yeah, of the early ones for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But it was just funny because it was in my head, John. I was like, I know John is just logging this in his brain as I'm just failing time after time after time.
I just don't look at this game that way, and maybe it's like it's just a refreshing break from all the esports games. Like that's kind of like my background in gaming big time, and especially recently I've worked on a lot of shows about esports, and it's just nice to have a game that like you can't really take that seriously.
Well, circling back to Jeff and talking about sort of the low stakes and everything, Jeff and I were playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, which is an amazing game in its own right, but there's a lot of heavy investment. There's a lot of big time storytelling, and everything like that. And it's almost like a lot more buy-in. That's like, okay, I'm going to sit down and play Ghost of Tsushima and everything. And you have to be a lot more engaged. And I wouldn't listen to a podcast and play Ghost of Tsushima because I want to hear the story and all that stuff. So for you, Jeff, was that just sort of a cool way for you to just turn off your brain from Ghost of Tsushima and just be able to play some Fall Guys?
No, that's a great comparison to make, because that's how like years ago I got into Mario Tennis, because I was playing games like Ogre Battle 64 where it's like the fate of the world was on my shoulders, and it's like I just want to play tennis against Luigi for like a half hour.
That's so true.
We're just having fun. Like can I just play a game where it's like, this is just for enjoyment, there's no epic story or anything like that? Like Ghost of Tsushima it is heavy, and that's another I don't listen to podcasts or anything like that either, because you never know when dialogue's going to pick up or there's going to be something important like that.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah,
or even if you hear something in the game, you need like all of your senses in Ghost of Tsushima, essentially.
Precisely. Yeah,
it's almost aggravating in that sense, in terms of the amount of sort of engagement that you have to have. But Jeff, do you have any tales to astonish / admonish is what we're going to be doing here? So your personal stories of playing Fall Guys, some of your triumphs and heartbreaks within the game, and then we'll go to John's.
Yeah, all right. There was one that it happened just a few days ago, which was the last time I was playing. None of you guys were with me, but I was so proud, and I wanted to share it with John because it was the soccer game where there's two giant balls and there's two teams, and you're just knocking the balls into the other person's net. The game starts, John. I run, I dive right into the balls, I score a goal immediately because nobody was lined up yet.
I love that.
My team lost 12-7, but I got the first goal without anybody.
12 goals? How is that even possible?
It was the craziest thing where they played the game where there was almost nobody left. There were only like maybe 10 of us, and so everybody was so spread out. We got the football immediately. Also, have you guys seen the egg?
Yes.
That there's
the
an
egg is
yeah.
worth,
See,
like,
I had
5,
never.
right?
Yeah, see, it was something ridiculous like that. So, I never knew how many extra points the football or the egg are, but like that's what was happening. Nobody was playing goalie, and then by the time I realized that and went over to, I mean, they were just up, and then all of a sudden we started scoring again, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they got ahead of us. But that first goal without anybody doing anything, I was like, hell yeah.
We were going to talk about our favorite mini games within Fall Guys, and Fall Ball is definitely, of the team games, I don't think there's anyone that stands above Fall Ball.
I like the egg one.
I know you. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Go
love
ahead,
In
my
the
egg one.
team game, whoever the losing team is, or they
They
all
eliminate the whole
eliminated?
team.
Gone.
Yeah, they
The
will
whole-
eliminate the whole team.
Yeah.
So
It's
sometimes
brutal.
that
It's
works out in your
brutal,
favor,
dude.
Mark. If you're not good at the game, you might be with
Yeah.
the best guys, and so you'll coast right through. That's happened to me sometimes with the tail tag, where it's the game where you have the tail and like people are trying to pull the tail off, but instead of it just everybody for themselves, there's 4 different teams. So even
I
though
hate
I suck
tail
at that
tag.
game, maybe I have great teammates and
I
they
hate
have all
tail
the other
tag.
tails.
For that reason though, like some of those I feel like I'm putting in so much work, and then we get to the end and we lose, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what else I could do. I left it all on the field for you guys. I don't know what else I could do to win this.
I've been on both sides of it, so I don't think it bothers me as much anymore. It's like I can think of so many times where my ass was dragged, and then there are other times where it's like I fucking did so much and it wasn't enough. So it's like, oh well.
Yeah.
If I see a team game, I'm like, we're flipping a coin here to see if I actually make it or not.
It all comes.
And then also, like, what is the good news about my team moving forward? I'm competing against like a bunch of excellent players. Like there have been certain times when I've been on a game and it's like they've just been dominating guys. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta play against all of these guys as soon as we do the next game. Like,
it's usually the
I
final
didn't think
round.
about
I
that.
feel
You
like
brought
too.
that
The
up.
final
after
round
team-
is rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like after the team game, usually there's one more round, or it's straight into the finals, depending on how many are left.
Yeah, it depends how many they're able to eliminate, and then what kind of team game it is.
Mhm.
Because there's some where it's 2 teams or 3 teams, and then the 4-team one. So yeah, you get them at all sorts of like if you're playing soccer, that's probably it, and then you're probably moving into the finals.
Yep. Oh my God, John, you had again. I think it was that first night we were playing together, and the reason you mentioned, I think at the start of the show, just one more game. I was mostly spectating, begging you to stay on, and so I'll tell my side of the story, and then you can pick up. So I wanted John to keep playing because
well, first of all,
I live alone and don't have a family.
I loved the game at first.
Oh, okay.
And then a series of events have made me hate the game. This is the first one. We'll get to the second one later.
The first domino to fall is this.
Continue.
So again, I was stinking it up the first night that I was playing with John, but I was having fun watching him play, and I was sort of still getting the feel for the game and everything, and I really wanted John to keep playing, but it was getting late, and he was like, I was like, oh, come on, one more game. He's like, all right, John, I'll never forget that. He goes, all right, one more game, I'm going to win the championship.
And I had the worst run. I had the worst run on every map that I've ever had, I think, and still made it through, like falling constantly, every mistake in the book.
He goes, I'm going to win the crown this round. He's like, I'm going to win it. And I'm like, okay, I haven't even seen it yet. Like I haven't seen any of us win a crown yet. And John makes it all the way to Fall Mountain, which is very much so sort of a Guts analog. It's like you're racing up the aggro crag to get the crown. And there's no actuators, because this is a simpler game. But that's essentially the gist of it. And take it from there, John. What happened?
Yeah, so I'm cruising up.
Made
the
it all the
mountain,
way to the final.
And again, every run, every round leading up to this has been my worst run on any of these maps. Like the fact that I'm even here is a miracle. But I make it to the last round, and I'm just a clutch player. I am that player under pressure that just clutches it out, or so I like to think.
Hold on, let me pause you right there. I love listening to John play too, because he'll be doing well on a run. He'd be like, "What? I'm a literal god at this game.
Yeah,
I am a god at this game." Like that is how he talks. Like John is like the secret, just pumping himself up.
Dude,
this game. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm a very emotional player when I play competitive games, and so like my way of keeping the like momentum and confidence is to just talk a lot of trash. I'll talk trash to my opponents. I'll talk trash to myself about how good I am to my teammates.
I remember that in playing Madden with you. And anytime John would run the football against me, he'd be, I got the vision. I got the vision.
Yeah. So I was doing the same thing. I'm like cruising up the mountain and literally like finding the best possible, like the optimal path. Like
he was a running back. It was crazy.
I literally had the vision, and I kept saying it as I'm running up this mountain. And I have what feels like a clear path to victory. Like I make it through all the obstacles. I'm in front of the line running up the little hill, and I like round the corner and I jump to grab the crown, and like as
I
I'm
thought
jumping,
you had it.
I thought I had it too. As I'm jumping, I see another guy jump from the other side, and I must have been 2 or 3 pixels away from grabbing the crown, and this little penguin shit grabs it out from underneath me, and I take, you know, second place, or I guess just I lose because this guy takes the crown. My closest. I don't think you could get any closer to winning a crown, honestly,
impossible.
than that game.
You were right there on it.
I was in the air with my hand out.
And again, revisiting to what you said before we started that playthrough, is you just called your shot. You're like, I'm gonna win the crown this run, and you had it, man.
And
you
what's
right
so
there.
depressing is like later that week when we all kind of played together, it was us 3 and it was Tim. I made it to a championship round like 4 times or something like that, but every time I did, it felt so empty. Like I'm at a place now where I don't even think I can win a crown.
You might not ever win.
I might not seriously. I might not ever win. Like I'm consistently making it to championship rounds now and not having the same clear path that I did that game. And it's like, I think that was my time. Like I think I'm just gonna have to be okay with being in the dance, but never
always
never
a bridesmaid, never the bride.
I think I'm just gonna have to embrace it.
How many people start at the
60.
beginning of this?
60 people.
And how many rounds? Is it a defined amount of rounds, or is it dependent on what games are being played?
I think it averages around 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because every game will eliminate a certain amount of people. Like the first game, it usually goes from 60 to about 41. And then from there, the next round may eliminate like another 10. And then, and it's sort of like this random assortment of what the games are going to be. Like certain games, you're either going to play in the first or the second round. Then there's kind of like these mid-tier round games. And then the last couple of rounds are usually the same type of games as well. And then the championship round, we talked about the climbing up the mountain, which for a while was the only one I saw. But I know of at least 2 other ones that you can do as the final game as well. The hexagon one, which I used to think was only a final round game. And then I played it like in the second to last round once as just a normal game.
So the hexagon game is like, there's like 8 layers of like these hexagons, and each hexagons are made up of little tiny hexagon tiles, and if you stand on it, it disappears.
And
so
you have to get
keep
to the next
moving,
one.
and the platform gets smaller and smaller, and then people start falling out of the next one, and then that one gets smaller and smaller as people start stepping on them, and they disappear until people fall into the slime, and like the last person standing or
is
the
winner.
Group of people standing move on or win or whatever.
That's a really fun I've definitely qualified for the next rounds too while I'm falling off whatever platform.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. If you haven't hit the slime yet, then you're good to go. As long as enough people were eliminated or the clock runs out, something like that.
By far, my favorite moment in the game so far was not a championship round. It was not the round. Even though I lost, we had a lot of fun in that one, James. But it was when I was playing with you 3, and you guys were all spectating me on soccer, and I had never played that minigame before, but I was just feeling it, and I was talking trash. I was feeling it, and it was like 0-0. It was a very low scoring game.
It was
0-0 for a long time. And I think I said, like, I need to take matters into my own hand. And I just started playing, like, super aggressive and, like, trying to push and push the ball forward. And I had one, like, jump dive that, like, pushed the ball up into the air. And one of my teammates had, like, kind of arced the second ball, like, in front of their goal. And so the ball that I hits that ball, and they both go in.
Both go, a double goal.
And, yeah, Jeff and Tim on team chat were like screaming in
John was on beast mode. That's why I wanted to tell him my soccer story, because it's like I was blown away by how good John was at that game. It was so good.
I've never played that good since, but when you
had the audience
like that, it feels good. Yeah.
Jeff, was it with you or maybe it was with John and you, the 2 hot dogs that were like dancing with each other at the finish line?
Yeah.
They were both grabbing on one. There's a lot of griefing also that goes on in Fall Guys. It is also a haven for trolls that just want to ruin other people's good time, and there are definitely
Davis does that sometimes. Davis is infamous for it.
they will be standing at the finish line, Mark, and they don't even care about qualifying. They want to prevent somebody else that's going to come heartbreakingly close to making it to the next round and just ruin their playthrough.
Yeah, because you can grab other players and like hold them in place,
slow them down.
Or you can or you can jump to an edge that other people need to jump to, and then you can just stand there. So when other people try to jump, they like bounce off of you and fall and die.
I was doing one of them. It was DoorDash, I think, and a person behind me grabbed me. Not so that like I was gonna finish first again, but they stopped me just so I wouldn't. It wasn't even it was just to keep me from. And it's like I don't know if they know the other person that they're playing with or not. It's like they just fucked up my run. So it's like I forget the name of the rollout one or whatever it is, where that's where you get a lot of griefers. The one where you have to jump over the green beam as well. Is where you get a lot of people that's like they and their strategy to it too, because like on ones like that, if you fuck me up and eliminate me, then it helps their chances. But I think by and large, most of the people that are doing that, they're just like the Joker. They just want to see the world burn kind of deal. Like there are even people in that match one, the match game, where they will go onto a tile that is not like, where the
but
fruit
they'll definitively move to it, so it seems like they know what they're doing.
That's what it is. Just it's so bad. It's like in Super Smash, where if you're Donkey Kong and you could just power bomb grab them and just jump off with them too. It
reminds me of like the shenanigans we used to do. I was telling you about this, James, when I used to play Counter-Strike when I was young. With my friends, we used to like flashbang each other. Like I'd have a friend like about to turn a corner to like look at the opposing team, and we would try to time flashbang so the flash goes off like right when they round the corner.
The
you were Fall Guys trolls reminds me of
I'm sure it's a lot of the same people doing that as well. For me, I John, you were talking about how you were sort of just happy to get to championships round. That's how I felt too. Like I never thought that I would ever finish the race.
I never thought you would either.
I know you didn't. And so the other domino to fall, which is why John now hates this game apparently, because I guess he hates me, is that I actually won a crown, which I could not believe it that it happened, but it was, I think. We were talking either on like team chat or whatever when we were playing. There's a certain mini game called Slime Climb that is the bane of certainly Jeff and I's existence. That is just a really difficult obstacle course where slime is rising up, and I think Jeff said that's like if I ever get past this, like that's the run where I'm going to get a crown.
Yeah,
and that actually happened for me. And I've been living mostly alone during this pandemic, but my one roommate I have and her boyfriend stopped by to drop off rent checks. And they were watching me play this game, and we're drinking some seltzers. Mark, I gave them a couple Belching Beaver seltzers, so I think the generosity smiled upon me. And I looked at them, I was like, I've never beaten this course before, so don't get too excited. They're like, oh, you got this. And I made it through Slime Climb, and we're high-fiving each other. We're yelling in the living room. I was so excited. I was like, well, that's great. And, we got to the final round. I was like, that's probably it. It's Fall Mountain. I never really do well in this event when I do make it. But it was the perfect run, and they were just silently like, oh, watch out for that one. And I made the run. I couldn't believe it when I saw the crown and there was nobody else around me. And to actually get it might be my biggest achievement in life to this point. A 34-year-old man getting a crown in Fall Guys is my biggest accomplishment.
Is that who took your photo?
Yes.
Because I was curious. I was like, who'd he get to take a photo of him with his TV and a crown?
He posted a photo of him next to his TV with the crown on the screen. And that's honestly when I uninstalled the game.
I was stunned. I was gobsmacked that it actually happened, and that was I thought. And actually, Jeff popped into my head because I was like, I feel like Jeff would take a picture of this moment to document for all time. It's worthwhile. So I like sheepishly looked at my roommate. I was like, hey, could you take a photo of me in front of my character with the crown? But they were so stoked. We were legit like just celebrating the living room. And then we just left the screen up for like an hour. We're like, yeah, we're just going to leave this on. It took me I didn't play for like another day because I was like, I'm good. I can retire as a crown winner, the first one to get a crown on the Best Damn Nerd Show.
Must be nice.
Yeah. They'll never take. Well, actually, Seglia may have gotten a crown.
I think Seglia probably has. Yeah.
Yeah. but you know, certainly I never thought that I would get one ever. So that's certainly the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, you know. So
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're happy for you.
yeah, I can tell, Jeff. I think I even texted it to Jeff, and he's like, "That's cool."
I said, "That's really good, man," and then I didn't talk to you for the rest of the day.
That being said,
I was expecting.
I kind of felt bad about that too, but I was like, you know what? Fuck him. Fuck him and his crown.
I was so disappointed too. I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to celebrate with Jeff, but he didn't want to partake in it.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's
No.
like my old roommate Brian all over again.
Listen, James, I wish for you to get 1,000,000 crowns as long as I get 1,000,001. All right? Like, I mean, I want you to have a lot of success, just less than me.
Oh my god.
What's funny is if we were spectating it, like if we were in that group setting and all of us were on team chat, like watching it, it would have been like so much joy and celebration and everyone rooting for you as you're running up the mountain. But because we weren't there and we just get to see the aftermath, like we're all just pissed.
I know. I really wanted to see us get crowns. Like if John had gotten that crown, I would have been pissed also. I want to see it happen. I don't like the idea that he wins a crown an hour after I log off.
It was man, it really has helped my confidence too, just in life. Like I feel, you know, when I log onto those Zoom calls at work, I'm just like, yeah, I got a crown, no big deal. Like we should do this. So
you should make it your Zoom wallpaper.
But yeah, that is definitely my tale to astonish.
You gonna put that picture on your Tinder?
Actually, you know what? Maybe I will.
Yeah, why not? You should.
You should.
I'm more of a Bumble guy, you know,
or whatever that is. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever.
Bumble fall guy.
And then just open up conversations with like, you know, I don't want you to be nervous. Like, I know, you know, I'm a champion. You know, I do have a crown, but I just, you know,
I haven't forgotten the little people.
I just want to be treated like everybody. You know, I'm just, you know, a kid from Monterey. That's it. You know,
I'm still a regular guy. I'm just better at Fall Guys than pretty much everyone I know.
Yeah.
So that's all. I know you guys hate it. I wish you guys could have celebrated with me. You know, this is very disappointing too, to just see and really feel the disdain from some of my closest friends that they can't be happy
we're
for
happy
me.
For you, James. You did good. You did.
See, like if I got married first, which by the way, I'll be quick to point out, I'm coming in last on that one. I do not qualify. If this were a Fall Guys minigame, I've been eliminated. But if I got married first, I feel like you guys have been like, yeah, I guess that's cool. We don't really like her.
All right, can we talk about Mario Party now?
We no, we still have more Fall Guys to talk about.
Hey, listen, James, I'm happy for you. Like, if I had won the crown, it would have been good, but it's like, whatever. But for you, I mean, it's a big deal that you got it. I mean, it's really good that you got this.
Clearly
it's all I have. It's all I have. We'll get to why it won't last long, or maybe we'll see about that. But I want to talk about some of our favorite and least favorite mini games from Fall Guys, because they're not all winners, and especially after whatever latest patch they did, Jeff, that you were telling me.
It got all glitchy. What the fuck?
Yeah,
the game was perfect. They ruined it. I don't understand what happened.
It was not an improvement, and there's definitely a lot more, I feel like, latency and lag.
Yeah.
Now with it, which is why I started sort of Ethernetting in the last couple of days. But even that, like, they have some, I think, patches to some things to work out now, and maybe victims of their own success. But the mini games themselves, what are sort of your power rankings of your mini games? I have a list. I'll quickly go through mine. You guys can add to it. Number 5 for me is Gate Crash, which is a race to the finish where you have to just time sort of your jumps through these gates. It's similar to my favorite one, which is DoorDash, but
that's your game, man.
I guess you could argue there's a little bit more skill involved with Gate Crash because it's about timing and stuff like that. Whirligig, which is just a classic one where you're going through the windmills and like the spinning rods that can knock you from platform to platform. Fall Ball, which we talked about, is the soccer one. That's the only team game that I really, really enjoy, and that
it's like Rocket League but more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's so good. I love that one, and we all have good stories of playing that one. I remember the first time, I scored a goal and fell into the net, and I didn't know what happened there because it had not happened to me before. I was like, okay, what goes on here? That's a really good one because most of the team games, honestly, are not great in my opinion. Number 2,
Yeah.
Hexagon, which I have not seen outside of the final, but I love that.
I liked
minigame.
Hexagon until I saw people doing the jump strategy where they like jump from one to another instead of just running full speed. And what I don't like about that is it feels counter to the spirit of the game, which is this to me. The game goes back to what Jeff said: is the simple like this, the simple game with simple controls, like doesn't have a lot of complexity in terms of like precision and skill that you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
That mini game with the jumping strategy feels
A little too meta.
strategic. Yes, I don't like that.
Okay. That's what's funny is I didn't know until maybe my second or third playthrough on Hexagon that people were employing that strategy. And it is the winning strategy because you'll see people they'll still be near the top.
It makes sense.
Davis taught it to me. I didn't know that either because I didn't know how much it slows you down in terms of how long you can last. I like the idea of it just being fast as hell. And you're just running for your life, and
what didn't John get? You killed 2 people with your run.
Yeah. Oh, that was so great.
Yeah, what happened there?
I think it was a championship round.
It was.
I came in second because we were on the bottom floor, and I'm just running around like a bat out of hell. These 2 guys are running next to each other, and I see them off. Coming, and I just do a quick like U-turn and cut them off at the source, and they were like steps away from making onto these platforms before they fell. And then I ran and eventually ran out of real estate, and then it cuts to the guy up top who's doing the jump strategy and still has like 100 tiles left, and it's like
and there's so little you can do with your characters too because it is such a simple game. There's just nothing you can do in that situation. There's no saving it. There's so few buttons, and it's just like, again, they're these very top-heavy, uncoordinated characters. Yeah, no, exactly. But that's why it's like you pull a move like that, and they're just completely screwed. I
honestly feel like that concept should be multiplied and applied to like every different game genre that we've now decided is not a party game. Like, I think that there should be, because like fighting games are super complicated now. I feel like someone just needs to put one out that's like incredibly simple. First person shooters, incredibly complicated. Even like RPGs, people are attracted to the complex systems, but I do think you could be successful putting out one that's like very, very simple and just like fun, just raw fun,
And then my number 1 mini game is DoorDash, and it is maybe the one that maybe no surprise, it's the one that requires the least amount of skill. It's completely luck based in many ways. I like it though because it reminds me of Double Dare, and I've talked to Jeff about this. Essentially, you're just like smashing through like what looks to be these like false doors. And it just reminds me of the classic Nickelodeon Double Dare games, and you're just jumping through. But if there's ones that's a solid wall, you just bounce all the way back, and you're rolling around, and you just see the rush.
And then you're trying to make it through a tiny doorway with like 100 other people.
Yeah, I've only seen it as the first or second mini game, so there's a crush of usually 59 other players that are just running by, and you're trying to get through this logjam. That's my all-time favorite. Fall Guys minigame. What are some of the favorites that I missed?
Dude, the egg one is one of my favorites just because I love that you can. So there's a minigame, Mark, where the game starts and there's like 50 or 60 eggs in the middle of the map, and everyone's divided into 3 teams, and everyone has a little basket on their side, and everyone runs to the middle like dodgeball. You grab an egg, you put it in your basket, and then after a 2-minute timer, whoever has the most eggs in their basket wins. But you can steal eggs out of other people's baskets. So after the initial like collection, people split up into like either defending their basket from people trying to steal eggs or going to other baskets to steal eggs from their basket and bring them back home. And it just turns into like pure chaos and fun. And like the feeling when you actually like get an egg out of another team's basket and bring it home, it feels like you're returning home to the boys with a great prize, like
egg scramble.
You've done good for the team.
Jeff, did we miss any of your favorites on the mini games?
I really like the seesaw game, which is usually the first or second one to play. So with this one, Mark, it's race to the finish again, but it's a lot of giant seesaws that you have to jump across to get there. And so with 60 or like 59 other people playing, a lot of times they skew and you can fall off the edge and you have to go back to the last checkpoint, or you got to wait for it to lower again so you can jump on it, and then you're jumping onto the next one.
Yeah.
It's chaos, but I figured out the timing for it a lot, and so I have a lot of fun and success with it. That one I really like. Hexagon is probably my favorite. And that's how I'd like to win a crown if I get one, is through Hexagon.
I like Tiptoe a lot.
Tiptoe.
Tiptoe is maybe the most stressful, and it's the one where...
Dude, Hexagon actually, my heart races when I play Hexagon. I think because it's also the championship.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But Tiptoe is one, essentially, it's like Indiana Jones. You have to spell Jehovah, and if you step wrong, the platform falls beneath you, and then you have to start all the way over again.
I've had some awesome times on... Yeah, go ahead,
Tiptoe, Tiptoe is a great one, and you'll see just this coagulation of all the play, and it usually comes late, too.
Yeah, it's usually like second to last game, so like half the people are being... like, you'll go in 19, and like 10 have to be eliminated. So people are... It's cutthroat. Yeah. One of my biggest like flubs ever... I was right at the end of it, so I would have been like the first or second person to make it, but you have to jump to the finish line. There's this like one last gap, and I completely just mistimed my jump and fell right in the gap. I mean, there was nobody in my way. I was fine. Yeah. And like, not only was I like crushed and like felt like shit, I was like, those other assholes are laughing at me. You know?
Dude, one of my favorite moments in watching you play though was from Tiptoe, because Jeff, you just balled out and dove, and for whatever reason you guessed right, and the path was there for you. And it was just...
I won that round,
because usually everyone just goes like space by space. It's like, I don't know if this one's gonna fall, but Jeff just dove out there, and it happened to work. I was so impressed.
And if you dive too, it's like then you're kind of far enough away from everybody, and you have a little bit of breathing room. And if you stay still long enough, the fake tiles will shake, and so you know where to go. And it's like, as long as nobody's pushing you, you can figure it out on your own.
That's a big grief game too.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems in any of these games is the other players are what screw you up. You can get through any of the obstacles if you're just on your own, but having a bunch of other jelly beans like jumping around, that's what fucks you up every time.
Them. It's
like everybody screws you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's like the frustration level is so high, but it makes it so fun. The worst mini games though, because there are some that I just straight up don't like.
I don't like the tail game at all.
The tail game, the individual tail game or the team tail game. I don't like
both
either
of those,
one of them.
That's Royal Fumble. I've never seen it, so it's on my list of worst ones.
Royal Fumble?
It's another like tag game or a tail game that I just haven't seen. Maybe it's been phased out. I don't know, but I've never seen it happen. Hoarders is another team game where you're just trying to keep these giant balls in your zone.
I like Hoarders. Hoarders is fun.
That one to me is just boring. Jinxed is another terrible team game. Essentially, you're trying to spread cooties to the other team.
COVID.
Yeah, essentially, it's the coronavirus game. But to me, the worst one, and Jeff, I think you'll agree, Slime Climb is
I like
just
Slime
a pain
Climb.
in the ass, dude. I hate Slime Climb.
Slime Climb, I think is probably the hardest.
Yes.
Because there's so many sections of it that are hard. Like, all the other obstacle courses typically have like one difficult section. Slime Climb, every section... Well, not every.
Slime Climb definitely separates the men from the boys.
It's an obstacle course to get to the finish line, and the slime rises in the level. And if you get hit by the slime, you're just dead mark. Where most of the games, if you mess up, you just go to the last checkpoint. So this one, there's permanent death basically, and you're screwed. That's why it's kind of usually like mid-level or towards the end, because it eliminates a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I finally did beat it. James was actually on and got to see me do it. I did not win the crown, as I had predicted if I ever did beat Slime Climb. So, but oh man, it felt good to beat it. Once you get to a certain point, you just got to be careful.
Once you're past the balance beams, it's like the Headless Horseman. Once you cross that bridge, my friend, the ghost is through. His power ends.
You can definitely still screw up, but if you're just kind of keep your wits about you and calm down, then you'll be fine. And I don't even know if the slime gets that high. I think at that point you just have to be cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, once you get past that, as long as, like you said, you keep your head, you'll be fine. One of the other things about the Fall Guys game in particular is it is also, there is a duality to it of it being a freemium game in order to like not upgrade your character, but change how your character looks. They have all these like cool, cute little costumes. Jeff, I think your wife described them not as jelly beans, but as like little tampons.
Little tampons, yeah. She thinks they're little tampons running around, little tampy.
But you can dress them up in different things, like a pirate or a T-Rex, a Triceratops, all this.
I'm a
stuff.
Triceratops right now.
Are you? Okay.
Someone posted fan art of the little jelly beans with like, basically it's like the Fall Guy exterior, but inside there's like a little Like
It's like
They're
a
almost
mech.
like they're
Yeah.
almost like
Human.
Jaegers, like from
yeah, it's
Pacific
like
Rim.
a mech. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a mech with a human inside controlling it, which is hilarious. And the official Fall Guys Twitter account retweeted it and said this is canon now, which is hilarious.
That's awesome, dude. Their
Yeah.
Twitter account is great too. They have a lot
It
of
is.
fun with what they're doing on there. But so you're rocking the Triceratops. I got the chicken outfit now, and I think I'm keeping that for a while. For me, I was just pleased to have the little workout outfit with the headband.
You love that one, yeah.
I do love that one, but now I like being the chicken. I think it just it just sort of fits with the absurdity of the game. But what, like, Jeff, you mentioned something when we were playing that's almost like you feel the need to sort of like change it up and display like how you've leveled in it and everything. There is sort of that like almost E-peen-esque to it that you want to show off, what sort of things you've unlocked.
Well, yeah, because every time you compete, you earn a certain amount of like experience and like what they consider money in the game. And so after you level up each time, you'll get like a different costume or color combination, and so you can switch it up. There's a few that are you just have from the base, and then the others that you add to it. And then there's some that you could buy with like real money if you are an idiot.
That's the thing, is like, as much as I love Fall Guys, I have not been tempted at all to spend any real money on this game. And again, it was free to download on PS Plus. So like,
well, I think they're aiming for like the 12-year-olds who have their parents' accounts plugged in to just
Absolutely.
like auto buy,
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like that. It's an
the
interesting
Fortnite
element.
model.
The
yeah, that's
freemium
how
element to
Fortnite made
me
its fortune.
is
Jesus.
just not tempting to me at all. As we sort of close out our Fall Guys conversation, and like I think we've demonstrated throughout this segment, how addictive and fun and vibrant it is. Is it going to have any staying power? Is my question. Is this going to be a flash in the pan kind of deal? It definitely came out at the right time. Obviously with the everyone here in America, the captive audience, the pandemic, and everything like that. They have released a trailer for season 2, which is going to be medieval themed, which looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think this is just going to get played out and it's just a fad, John?
I think season 2 has a lot of promise. I think it'll stick around for a little while. The thing that looked really cool about season 2, it's a subtle thing that I noticed in the trailer, but it goes back to what Jeff said about the seesaw game and about like how sometimes you have to work with the other little jelly beans in order to get to the finish line, which makes it incredibly difficult to get to the finish line sometimes because people make bad decisions and you're like, dude, I need you to get on the other side of the seesaw with me so we can get to the next damn seesaw so we can make it to the finish line.
I'm sorry, I suck.
There looks like there's one minigame in the trailer where you have to like team up with other little jelly beans to like push a platform into place for you to jump up onto the next platform. And I can just imagine
I don't see that going well.
Annoying that's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
It's like on Whirligig where you have to like jump, you have to like get on the little tiny thing and then jump to the next, but there's never enough room because everyone's trying to go
Oh
at the same
god,
time.
yeah, that is the most frustrating part of it.
Yeah.
That is the worst spot.
That being said, I feel like it's, even though they have some of the same systems as Fortnite in terms of the battle pass, and it is a very fun game, I do feel like it's sort of in like the meme game genre and is going to kind of fade out as like another kind of fun meme game comes around and as big AAA titles start coming out later this year. But it's very, very fun. And I really hope that like developers take lessons from it in terms of like how fun just a simple, silly game can be.
And I wanted to end with that question because in the next segment, we're going to be talking a lot about Mario Party, which has stood the test of time. And, they've released title after they've released it got me, Mark. They've released title after title of Mario Party. And it's like, I would love it for Fall Guys to continue on and be successful. And that, down the line, we're talking about Fall Guys 8 or whatever. I just, given people's attention span and everything, I'm not sure that's going to be the case. But, John, you called one time when I was playing Gate Crash that's saying I was chasing the dragon. And I just hope that Fall Guys, is that dragon for a little while longer because it's just so fun to play with you guys or whatever, just to pass time in a really, difficult time in the world right now. It's nice to just have some stupid fun. But Jeff, do you think this is just the pogs of video games, or do you think it'll hold on a little bit longer?
As long as I don't have to pay for it, I'll continue to play. But
Nice.
I mean, it was a free game. That's why I'm playing it, and all my friends are playing it.
I would pay $10 for this game.
Yeah, but then I saw it was like, I forget how much the original like sticker price for it was, but it was too much for what this
prohibitive
game is. Yeah, exactly. They need to change their price point.
Yeah, free is the perfect price point for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
if there's
do all
enough
the
idiots
work,
that are
and we'll
like,
get enough of the enjoyment.
Yeah. if there's enough people buying the costumes and stuff, then yeah, keep it as is. I don't know how much longer we'll play for. Now that James has already won a crown, I mean, I know you can always win more crowns and then you can spend them on things.
Could,
But I mean,
probably
I think
won't.
yeah, I mean, I feel like eventually the novelty will wear off, and then it's like at a certain point, if I don't win a crown, it's like, well, fuck it, man, I'm not winning a crown, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know how much longer I want to play it for.
Like John.
And like when I first started playing, I was playing by myself and it was fine. But now, I mean, I'd much rather just play if at least some other person's on with me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, what's the point?
It definitely is way more fun when you have at least one other friend on there.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
yeah. Because it's just us hanging out and having like a conversation and stuff. You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's like
Sounds
actually
like a party.
Yeah, it's a party game.
It is. It's the pandemic party game.
That's why we're doing a party game episode, Mark.
Yeah. Well, that is the cool thing, is that it made such an impression on all of us that's why this episode is happening. So I do hope that the fad of Fall Guys continues on for a little while longer. And, you know, who knows?
Those views, mostly.
You know, I mean, who knows how long this whole pandemic ordeal is going to continue on anyway. So, you know, maybe Fall Guys will still be a thing. Who knows? And I did come heartbreakingly close to another crown, and it was that same exhilaration now. So we'll see how long it can keep us all hooked. But this game exists, I think, in large part because of the success and the pioneering of other party games, which we will get into on the other side on the Best Damn Nerd Show. Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. One final segment here, Bimbo Jimbo with Jeff Budd, John Craig, and Mark Truex. I love talking Fall Guys the last segment, but now we're going to get nostalgic about some of the other party games that actually, you know, really birthed the genre. And, you know, Mario Party, coming into this episode, we knew that one would sort of be the paragon, the pillar at the top of everything, which would be the Mario Party series. Mark, you don't like Mario Party. You've been poo-pooing it in the build-up to this episode, during this episode. What is your animus with Mario Party?
So, you know, I will play Mario Party. I will never pick it.
Why?
At all. It's garbage. It's oh, look, we're a board game and you got to go around it, and stars are awarded at fucking random.
All right,
no matter what you do.
You picked up the basic concept.
Yeah,
it does.
Like,
that's how you get the coins to buy the star.
Some of them, and then at the end, all of a sudden, you're rewarded extra things. It doesn't matter truly what you did the whole game. It's just like
that's how you get the bonus stars. Is what you did the rest of the game. Also, you can turn those off. You can turn those off.
You can turn off bonus stars, Mark.
Yeah,
but no one ever does.
I happen to like bonus stars though, because it's also randomized which ones, so you don't like. I like that.
I think it's fine. Yeah. Otherwise, you know who's gonna win already.
Yeah.
So Mario Party is cool for the mini games. If you just want to play mini games, great. I'm in. But the fucking board game and the like, oh, cool, yeah, now there's a first, second, and third coming in. Like, no, there should be one winner of the game, and it's whoever won the most mini games. That's it. I don't care about all the other like go back through spaces. Now I fell down a rabbit hole and got an extra star over here.
I feel like some of the uniqueness of the boards and how stars are awarded are some of my favorite things about Mario Party.
The boringest and worst part of the game. I'm just waiting to play mini games.
It definitely is not as fun as the mini games. I'll give you that.
There's also a particular mode where you're on a board, but it's just the mini games. There are no stars. There's nothing else. The only reason they still have a board is so that you can land on a blue or a red space so that they can see what kind of game it is that you'll play, whether it's team game, 3-on-1, or everybody against everybody.
Randomize it. I don't need the board.
Well, I mean, you also can buy the games with the points that you earn, and then you can just play whatever game you want. So you can do that too.
Just give me the games I want.
It is funny.
But they are.
All
right. Are you the same guy who plays a video game? It's like, I just want to play the last level. Just put me on the last level. I don't. Why do I have to go through all the levels to get to this?
That's what Game Genie's for. Yeah.
Well,
you can play with the Game Genie, the old ones. You could do that.
I like Mario 3 because he can just get the flute and go right to the end.
part of the exhilaration
Yeah.
of Fall Guys is not knowing which mini game you'll get. However, I happen to think that Mark might really
Sure.
like Fall Guys because all it is
No,
mini games.
I think I will, but I don't need the board to tell me, oh, here I am going around, because it doesn't matter how many laps you do around the board. There's no end to the actual board. It's just like, hey, this is just some bunch of boring bullshit to get us to finally play Row the Boat or whatever. Like, just give me Row the Boat.
No, never give you Row the Boat. That's the worst mini game.
Oh my God, Jeff, you are a resident board game master. I imagine that Mario Party
Am I?
to that,
Yeah.
yes, you are. To that end, Mario Party probably is the exact opposite. Has a lot of appeal to you because it is a board game in
It's the
in
video
Mario
game I was
form.
waiting for. Yeah, it's like this is all I wanted. I'm one of those guys is like, I don't want to play regular Mario levels. Give me this. This is what I'm all about. Also, when Mario Party first came out, and it's like, you kids today, you don't understand, but like multiplayer games used to be everybody played by themselves and they just waited for their turn. And it's like nowadays everybody plays everything at the same time, which is like, you have any idea how much Halo blew my mind that a first-person shooter, you could have two people play the campaign?
And then
I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is the story? We're not just fighting each other? So it's like, with Mario Party, it's like we're actually controlling our figures at the same time, which is really cool in those mini games. I mean, it was not unprecedented, but it was very few games were like that.
But the mini games were, you were battling against each other. And then you still had
Not
solo
always. Sometimes
turns
you're on the
going around
same team.
board.
Yeah, but the
This
basic
crap.
concept was just the mini game, though. I mean, the moving around the board really doesn't take up that much time.
I mean, I like Mario Party for the same reason that I like a game like Hearthstone for the card game genre, where if you're gonna make a video game out of it, have things that only work in the video game world. Whereas like other games, board games that have been translated to video games, it's just a straight up like translation to a game with animation. Whereas Mario Party is like, what if we did a board game in a video game world and you're on a board, but you have these stops and they're I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept if you think about it as a board game. But I also do understand the kind of wanting to get to the point and just getting right to mini games too. Fall Guys does elegantly solve that problem for you.
I feel
I
like
also think a lot of the mini games in Mario Party are tedious to say the least.
I think there are a lot
there are good and bad.
Yeah, that is very true. But there are good and bad in Fall Guys as well.
Definitely.
But I feel like that Fall Guys exists in a unique space where I feel like the just mini games thing being set up as the most extreme elimination challenge sort of works for it. I feel like in Mario Party, it would almost be too much of a good thing if that's all you played. Like I do like the board game aspect of it because I don't know. I think it's a good framework for how you actually win. It has an end, like the endpoint set of it. I think actually really works. For it. If it was just mini games, because I know that there is that option. I never really played that way though.
That'd be the best way.
I like the I like the option to do it either way because sometimes Mark, maybe I don't want to play like a full board game because you also have to set it to a certain amount of turns. And it's like the average game is like 35 turns. Then you can make it a longer game or you can make it a shorter game. But maybe you just have enough time to play a few mini games. And also, when you choose the mini games, you get to choose specifically which mini game you want to play, which I always think is a lot of fun. But some of the mini games, if there wasn't anything at stake with the board game, like I don't really see the point of playing it. Like Bowser's Big Blast, where it's like 4 different like plungers for dynamite. And you're just taking turns pushing one down randomly, and you don't know which one's going to set off the bomb and blow you up. And then there's one less plunger. It's almost like musical chairs that way. And then you just go until the last person. But it's like if you're just playing that game and then that's it, it's okay. I mean, it's just random. Some of the games are completely random like that too. At least with the Mario parties that I played. And it's like if there's no stakes, then who gives a shit? Like Day at the Races. Any one of those characters can win the race and you just pick one of them, but you don't know who it's going to be. And I've kind of given up on that sort of chaos. It's fine because, I could win the coins or I could lose the coins. But if I'm just playing that game and standalone and there's nothing to it, I'm really just moving the joystick left or right, pressing A, and then watching the figures race from one line to the other. I mean, it's not a real, it's not a game if it's not involved with the board game. It's gambling.
What I'll say, gambling's great. And
but it's gambling, but I don't actually win anything. It's only gambling if it's in the board game where then I get coins to buy a star. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
The mini game concept doesn't work as the singular game. I will agree with you on that. But the point of the mini game is it's a part of a larger game where it's the cumulative action of them all. I don't need a fucking board to do that for me. Give me points. Rank us 1 through 4 of who did better, who did worse, and stack them across 10 games.
But
Things
okay,
like
do you
that.
really want to be ranked on a game that is just completely chance? Like, I mean, there's nothing to that.
Mark
Yes.
did
At least, like, with the
Mark
coins-
did love steeplechase at the casino, which is the same thing.
That's fun. That was a fun one.
Like, as much as I love the Konami horse racing gambling station at the
Oh, that was
casino,
the best. I love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Ultimately, it's nice to have the
Steeplechase.
illusion of like control and skill.
It is illusion.
That's
make
why
no
that's
mistake
only one of
about
them,
it.
though. Not
And that's
all
why
the
I play
games are
roulette.
like that.
Well, and
But
I don't
throwing
have a
one into the mix to help even the odds against your level of playership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't know. Like, in a board game setting, it makes sense because then the winner gets 10 coins and you need 20 to buy the star, and you can still win or lose coins depending on different things. Like, it makes sense in that setting to me, but just like playing it randomly, I just don't really see the point. Like, other games, you could play it indefinitely, like Bumper Balls or something like that, and that's totally fine. And those were the types of games that I would just play on my own with my brother.
I feel
you
like
know?
adding in the board game in Mario Party made it more randomized because then you're trusting a dice roll. Like, oh, I fell on 3 steps back or whatever, or lose coins.
Yeah, it's a
And so
fun
it doesn't
game.
matter how you performed in the games, ultimately in your skill level.
Yeah, it
because
does.
It's the
You have to
board
put
that
your best
makes-
foot
But if I
I'll
lose
take
3
both.
coins because I landed on a red space, that doesn't mean shit if I win all the games, because I win like at least 10 coins in all of the games. So like, what's 3 coins there? Sometimes I liked landing on a red space if everybody else landed on blue and it was going to be like Arch Arrival or something like that, and I'm shooting arrows at them.
And then someone gets a ghost and steals your shit, and it doesn't even matter.
But they
That
need
was some
50
trivial
coins
thing
to
they
do that.
won.
They need to be winning mini games in order to afford to do that.
The board adds a lot of intrigue as well. It's like, oh god, I really need to get like a 6 so I land on this space. And if you hit it, it's exciting. If you just miss it, it's heartbreaking. It's a fun element to the game. I want to talk more about Mario Party, but I want to give Mark a couple minutes here to talk about a party game that he loves, and that I think is maybe the main reason he's on tonight. We insisted upon it, but that is Fusion Frenzy, Mark. That is a game that you...
Fusion Frenzy.
If I Google this, does it
delivers
even show up? It
on
sounds obscure.
everything I've been talking about. Not gonna lie. So this was like one of the launch games for Xbox, and it came pre-bundled with the system back then. Fusion Frenzy 2 came out for the Xbox 360, and it is like Mario Party in the sense of the mini games without the board. It was more like American Gladiators, where you had a series and sets of games where it was this evolving like power scale of points, and at the very end, it was players versus players, like wagering their points for this huge pie to see who was the ultimate like champion. And the games were freaking rad, and it wasn't like doing things where it's like, oh, now we gotta roll around the board and let's fucking wait and sit in our hands and do nothing. Instead, it was like fast-paced like game show status, which it sounds like you guys are getting from Fall Guys, which I'm excited to hear. I think you guys would be fans of Fusion Frenzy. Check it out. But they had a bunch of wonderful games on there, like a Twisted System, which was like this giant corkscrew thing that had either like things you had to jump over, things you had to duck under. And so your characters are running up it, and it just keeps getting faster and faster until you're each knocked off till the last player, right?
Cool.
Or things like Sumo, where it was literally like American Gladiators in the giant cage ball, and you're rolling like bumper cars into each other, knocking each other off of this platform that slowly shrank and fell apart into like enough room for just one ball to sit.
Very cool.
Yeah, they had a lot of really fun games of that nature, and that's what I want. Like, I just want to play those games. I don't want the board.
I just happened to glance at a couple of
Guys, is your game.
review scores from it, and I came like right off that 3 out of 10 on a couple of them. But there are the
Oh, I'm
ones that
sorry they
give
didn't have Mario behind it.
Hey,
Mario sells. You put that name, and there you
Yeah.
go. That's
Yeah,
all
Mario
you need.
Remember the paper?
It's that kid crack for sure. I get it. But Fusion Frenzy was still a fun game.
It's a brand you trust,
It is
They-
true.
they-
It's
there was one
Coca-Cola.
game where
even though it's stamped on
like,
everything.
Did you guys ever play like Snafu on Intellivision or Snake,
No, dude.
if you would?
Snake, yes.
But yeah, Snake. So it's like your trail keeps getting longer and longer. You got to keep moving around and not run into yourself. they had a game on here where it's all 4 of you blazing these trails, and so you're all cutting each other off, moving around until you last man standing again.
It's like asking somebody if they ever had a soda. It's like, have you guys ever tried RC Cola before, or a Coke, if you will? It's like, what are you referencing? What is this shit?
Have you ever learned how to ride a bike?
Have you ever defended an Xbox game that nobody's ever heard before?
Have you ever gone
There's a
a
whole
rambling?
generation
It
that's not
came
gonna have-
bundled with the system. It came bundled with the system.
Yeah.
That's like saying Mario sucks or Sonic sucks. Fusion Frenzy was the equivalent to Xbox.
That's when they were just trying to get rid of the Xboxes. I had an Xbox back when they didn't bundle it with the game because they hate their customers. I miss the old days where you got everything included when you bought it.
Well, Mark, I want to make sure I give you your platform to espouse
You guys should
the-
play it. You
the
guys should play it.
virtues
I
of
would no
Fusion
listen.
Frenzy.
I would play it. It sounds like fun. I mean, I think both games can be good.
Yeah,
So,
I just
like,
it's
sure,
just
sure,
mind-blowing
like
to me how
Mario
much-
Party being a good
That's
game
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
make that shitty game that
That's
you're
what I'm
talking
saying.
about any worse.
Yeah.
Like they're both
I-
good games.
Will play Mario Party.
Oh, thank you.
It will never
all
be
right, thank
my
goodness.
choice.
That's
It
just
will
weird
never
to
be
me.
My choice. I'm
That's
never
just-
like, oh yeah,
I get
let's play
that.
Mario Party.
I get
that. Sounds like a fun time.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I mean,
John.
Well, I mean,
where
yeah,
do you
it's
fall
no
on
like main Mario or Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut off John, but yeah.
Oh no, I mean, I think it's fun. It's not my first pick. I mean, I've definitely owned a couple throughout the years. I don't own it for Switch. I have a lot of fond memories of playing it with my sister when we were growing up. But, you know, there's a lot of other games that I would rather play. So that's what it comes down to. It's fun. It is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trashing on the game, and I think it definitely has a place. I think Fall Guys has solved some of the problems that Mark is talking about, but I also do understand from the point of view of like a board game fan as you are, Jeff, like that part of it would definitely be appealing because there's something about that makes sense. Like it's a system that you enjoy. And I never really thought about that. I mean, it's weird to say that because it's clearly a board game video game, but it is such a key component of the game, and they really like elevated the board game genre by adding all these systems to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny they mentioned it's like no Mario Kart or regular Mario and stuff like that. In particular, Mario Party 8, which is my favorite Mario Party. That's one of my all-time favorite just Mario games in general. I think it's so fun. I love the mini games in that one. I love the different board setups and that's one of the cool things about Mario Party too. It's not just a static board. There's different levels you can do, different types of boards. And like Mario Party 8, there's one where you're on a train, which has its own like sort of different sets of things that you can encounter or do on it and where you can get a star at the end or not. The hotel one is sort of like a Monopoly type board where you build up your hotel and you get stars that way, but people can like steal from you and everything. It's incredibly frustrating, but really fun. And the mini games in that one are just awesome. So I like the board game aspect of it a lot. It's one, again, like I said, it's one of my favorite Mario games, period. Jeff, I know you're a big fan of the early Mario Party genre. What are some of your favorite mini games from the early Mario parties and just your favorite experiences?
Yeah, some of my favorites would be like Grab Bag. I love Grab Bag, which is where you go around and you just grab somebody from behind and shake them until one of the mushrooms in their little sack falls out and then it goes into your sack.
Yeah.
And so it's just you're constantly just trying to screw over everybody else and get as many into your sack as
Just
possible.
grabby.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting very grabby, especially like against Peach. She was the only girl in the game at the time. And I'm trying to think of another one that I never see on any of the top lists, but my brother and I swear by it, was Shell Shocked, where you're driving around in little tanks, like a little Koopa shell, and you can either like fire straight ahead at somebody or you can like lob a shot over, and there were like different pipes and stuff on the road that would like block you, and it was just not single elimination. I think you like had enough armor for like 2 shots, and then it's just last man standing. That one was so much fun. I used to have a lot of fun with that, and there were like different maps depending on like how complex they wanted to make it for you, and some of them are like you could really navigate around for a while and like hold off people, and it was awesome. And then there was another one called Rake 'em In, which was kind of like Hungry Hippos, And so there's a bunch of mushrooms on like this revolving platform, and you have this rake and you operate it, and then you pull them into your basket. But some of the mushrooms were poisoned, and so that would hurt your score. So you got to be careful when you activate the rake. That one, I remember seeing that on the commercial for the second Mario Party, and it was brand new game for that game. I was like, ooh, I want to play that. I want to play that one badly.
Yeah,
those are great mini games.
Yeah,
Just
no.
give me those. Those are fantastic. Yeah.
But the board adds something to it too.
And the boards are fun. I'm trying to think of like some of my favorite boards that I've played. Maybe the Western one. Like I've only played really the first couple of Mario Party games. I don't know why I stopped or why I didn't buy any other ones. I've always appreciated the property. It's just yeah, I don't know. I just never really like purchased another one again. But yeah, I like the cowboy board game. I love the pirate one. Maybe that one's like my favorite, especially because it's a very simple board game, and so it's really more just focused on the mini games, which I think you would appreciate, Mark. There's not that many things to screw you over. It's
Mark,
very straightforward.
Which Mario Party really like hurt you? Like I feel
I
like
can't tell the
'Cause the
difference
first-
between them. They're all the same.
Well, I feel like
Like,
the first
I
one, the
honestly
boards
couldn't
aren't
tell
that
you.
complicated.
when
I
I
couldn't tell
hear
you which ones. It was probably GameCube for the most part.
Okay.
maybe. GameCube or Wii.
Okay,
There's
so
a
it
couple on
sounds
the
like you're
Wii,
talking
though.
about the,
I played.
like, I think the one that I really like, Mario Party 8, is one that Mark I think maybe dislikes the most, and I'm pretty critical of the Wii and everything in terms of not being, my favorite video game system or anywhere close to it. But actually, with Mario Party 8, I thought it made such a great use of the Wii remote. I mean, there's a lot of jokes to be made, but there's this like one called like Crank to Rank, where essentially you have to like run this flag up the flagpole, and you're just like doing this. You're
just jerking off.
essentially jerking off your Wii remote. And there's another one where you're like trying to shoot off.
Practice
like, something
that a
at the-
lot. I can see why you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was a
James is a
master.
killer at it.
I was a master at that game. One of my favorites, though, and it's another one sort of like the steeplechase or whatever it was we were talking about, where you just pick a winner of the race, where you're cutting a cord, and it's completely random about whether or not if you cut, it's like which wire do you cut, and if you cut the wrong one, you just get sent out you get knocked off of the board or whatever, and it's so stressful when it's like down to you and one other person. It's like which cord.
I love that.
I don't know. I think it made such a great use of the Wii remote. Like there was a baseball one, I think it was called Swing Kings, where it's just like home run derby in Mario Party.
Yeah.
And in playing that, I think it's another thing like Fall Guys, where it's like the buy-in to understand and to get maybe people to play with you that normally wouldn't be into video games, I think is a real strength of Mario Party. Because I think for a lot of people, it's like, I'm not really into video games. So it's like, hey, it's like a board game, but with Mario. And you get to do all these like fun little things within that. That was, I think really a special thing about it. Definitely some griefing, and there's some bad winners that I've played with in Mario Party that, they will really, really be sore winners in that game. And a lot of it, and if they lose, it's like, oh, you just got the random like mini game star or whatever it was that Mark would like hearing Mark talk about.
Those games.
You would like the mini
game.
game star, though, Mark. If you win the mini games, you get that star.
Those games do bring the worst out in people at times, though, where people team up and sabotage others, and like the worst is when someone's losing or in like last place or second to last, and they like purposefully sabotage the first or second place person to help the other person. It's like, dude, play for yourself, man. Like,
yeah,
that is the worst. You have no backbone if you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Like, it's a loser mentality from the beginning. You're just like, I'm not gonna win, so I'll just help this person out. It's like, dude, how about you just give it your all? Maybe the reason you're not winning is because you don't ever give it what you got.
I do think that, as we're winding down here, we've joked about Mario being a trusted brand and everything. A lot of that is very true, but like the Mario Party franchise and series has added like a whole nother layer and dimension to, again, getting people exposed to those characters. Cause in getting right, there's like 18, that qualify under the sort of the Mario Party genre. There's a lot of like side ones and stuff like that. I didn't realize there were that many because I haven't played them all either. But it's pretty crazy how it's its own business almost. It's its own branch of the Mario of the Mario genre. I would love it if we could, that's the thing is I'm not into what Nintendo is currently doing, but if like Mario in playing Fall Guys, my first thinking of what Fall Guys were ripoffs of the Shy Guys from the Mario universe is what I thought they were sort of ripping
I mean,
off.
and a lot of the best Mario Party mini games have been turned into, and some of them improved by Fall Guys.
Yeah. But it's like if Mario Party was on the PS4, like that it had been just released like this, I'd go with the name you trust over necessarily Fall Guys. And I think we'd have a lot of fun playing it. But I do think that the Mario Party and the party game subgenre has really added a lot to, his brand. It's crazy how many there are, and they just keep cranking them out. So
yeah.
And I look forward to playing some in the future. I mean, I'll have to meet some people that actually have those Nintendo systems, because I certainly won't be buying them. But if they do, I'd be down to play Mario Party for sure.
I think Davis has one, right?
Yeah, but he left.
Yeah.
He left me in the middle of the pandemic. He moved away. So we'll have to. I'll have to settle for going down to visit Mark and playing Fusion Frenzy, I suppose. So
let's do it, man.
No, he's got an N64. I'll bring up my Mario Party 2.
Oh, perfect.
We'll all play that.
Is that your favorite?
Mark will play.
I'll play
Just
it.
won't suggest it. Yeah, there we go.
Right.
What is your favorite Mario Party, Jeff?
I mean, seeing the two that I've played all the way through are the first two. Probably the second one, but there's certain games that I don't think they ever survived past the first one that I really enjoyed. Like, it's one where everybody's actually working together, where you have to carry the light bulb from like one part of the castle to the other, and there's all these ghosts coming after you, and they can possess people, and if you punch the person, he's not possessed anymore. And so it's either everybody wins money or nobody wins money, and it's like, odd bedfellows sort of thing. It's like, well, we all got to work together this time. It's like stuff like that. Or Skateboard Scamper was always a great game too.
Skateboard
Very
Scamper,
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, I've had a lot of fun talking party video games with you all, and big ups to Fall Guys for creating this phenomenon, this interest with all of us. And Mark, I'm going to get you hooked on it. I'll bring down the PS4 and I'll let you play Fall Guys to your heart's delight. I think,
Let's do it.
Just knowing you, I think you're going to really, really love Fall Guys, especially with what you hate about Mario Party. So
This is your game, Mark.
Yeah, it's the game you're born. You're going to get very angry, though, at certain parts. It happens to all of us. But
if it elicits emotion, it's good.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Let's fire up Fall Guys and kick this pig and end the show. Have a great week, everyone. Remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud. Hey, Nerdosphere, Bimbo Jimbo here. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want early access to this show, then you need to go to bestdamnnerdshow.com/Patreon. There is a bevy of content out there for you, and I hope you enjoy it all. Thank you so much for your support.